Hey everybody, welcome here to Pop Culture Philosophers, and I am Rockin Robbie Billups, and it's time for Rockin Robbie Live, here on a Sunday evening. How's everybody doing? Do gotta give a shout about the comic jabroni. He passed away, and so that really sucks. We lost a very passionate and enthusiastic member of the comics YouTube community, and I know my heart goes out to his family and his friends and those here on YouTube that were extremely close with him, like Perry, for instance. So I wanted to address that. We did, in fact, Tacky 616 lose a great one. He was a very good YouTuber. I didn't have too much of a chance at all to work with him, so that's my loss. So I feel for his family and all that stuff. But tonight we're going to have a good show. Tonight we'll be taking a look at what's coming up this week in comics. We'll be taking a look at our favorite comic books from last week. We will have a Marvel in the 90s segment, a little bit of show and tell, and a top 5. So it's going to be a fun time. Once you get in here, jump in and start the conversation. I see this conversation's already going. David Hatch wants to know, who's your favorite cover artist in comics? Let's go ahead and get those going. While I say, you can follow me on Twitter at the Rockin Robbie if you are so inclined. You can follow Pop Culture Philosophers on Facebook and Instagram. If you're on Facebook, you might as well join the PCP Army, the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. If you want to support the channel, congratulations, you're already doing it by watching the video. Participate, hit the thumbs up, it really helps us out. Subscribe if you haven't already, share the stream, and if you want to go further, there are super chats, and of course, like these fine people right here, you can support us at patreon.com/PCP. We've been getting some really generous donations from people for the new set, and I'm very, very appreciative. And I got to give a mad shout out and hats off to HC and Bruce in particular, for going above and beyond, and I really, really do appreciate that. We have some exciting stuff to show off in the near future, including gearing up for Horror Fest. Oh my goodness, it's almost here. We're less than a month away from Horror Fest. And yes, the Yankees and the Red Sox are playing right now. And yes, couldn't get my ESPN app to actually work with me again on my tablet. I might need a new tablet. I don't know. It's the only app that's not working. But, so if anybody knows any changes, and last I saw it was 2-0 Yankees, so if anything changes in the Yankees game, please let me know if anybody's watching it. Anyway, so we're going to have a good time tonight. Once you get in here, let me give a shout out. This show is fueled by your questions, your thoughts, your concerns, your comments. So get them in, get the conversation going. And as we're getting ready, let's go ahead and start the first 6. But before that, I do want to make an announcement that Friday night, a live PCP movie night, a live movie conversation, discussion, review of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. We are, you know it, gearing up for Face the Music. We are very, very excited. So we have 3 weeks of Bill and Ted coverage on Friday Night Live. So please join us for that. That should be 9 p.m. Central Time this upcoming Friday. And now we get into the first 6. We're still going through the Marvel Universe Series 1 trading cards. So let's do it. We've been into the villains since last week. Here's card number 61. It's old Ultron. This is personally my favorite Avengers villain, is Ultron. 100%. Doesn't really want to focus too much. Did you know Ultron is responsible for the creation of the android Avenger known as the Vision? I bet you did know that. Next card, we have the Enchantress. There you go. Doing Enchantress stuff. Thor, did you know? Thor is the only man who ever stood up to the Enchantress on a date. Whoever stood up the Enchantress on a date. I did not know that. So that was helpful to know. I did not remember that, at least. Next up, we got Magneto, the master of magnetism himself. God, I love these cards. Did you know Magneto is the father of Avengers Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch, 2 superheroes who were once the members of their dad's Brotherhood of Evil Mutants? Haha, silly Marvel Universe Series 1. Did you know that that's in fact not true? Then we have Bullseye. Love the Bullseye card. Look at that. I dedicate this one to Bullseye Bob. Did you know Bullseye's skeleton is reinforced with adamantium? Just like the mutant hero Wolverine. It's not quite like Wolverine. Not quite. There's Mr. Sinister. Is that still canon? That Bullseye has an adamantium enhanced skeleton? If Bob shows up, we'll have to ask him. There's Mr. Sinister. That's a pretty cool card. I was never the biggest Mr. Sinister fan, but I am really enjoying what's being done with him in the Hickman stuff. Did you know, using some unknown means, Mr. Sinister can resurrect his marauder henchmen after they have been killed? He was cloning them, homie. Sandman. And that's the final one in the first 6 is Sandman. Though I remember growing up and Sandman was a hero. Did you know the Sandman's greatest nemesis is water? When wet, his body becomes soggy and impossible to manipulate. Yeah, because that's how it always ends, doesn't it? Check that out. It's pretty dope. Anyway, that's the first 6. I should make a little something for the first 6 and final 9. I do want to point out to everybody that tomorrow morning, 5 a.m. Pacific time, that's 7 a.m. Central time, that's 8 a.m. Eastern time, and let's just round it out for the U.S. audience, that's 6 a.m. for Mountain time. Bueller, Comics with Bueller, will be debuting the all-new Coffee and Comics show on a brand new set. It looks super sweet, super dope, and I'm very excited to see the episode. What is up, everybody? Got a lot of people in here. Thank you for being here. Mike is in here. Mike has been doing, for the last couple streams we've done. Last night we did a stream, me and Jay Strick, with Dylan on Dylan's Comics channel. You definitely got to check that out. That was a fun discussion. Very loose and free, mostly about horror movies and comics. This is what we always do about this time. And Mike was going along with it in the PCP Army. He was posting up images to reference what we were talking about or information. And it was really cool. And he did that on Friday for the Ferris Bueller. So, Mike, I really appreciate that. That was dope. I don't know if he's doing it right now. Maybe he is. Maybe he's not. I don't know. I'm actually drinking Blue Moon tonight. I don't know why I got hit with this Blue Moon bug yesterday. So I got some Blue Moon and some oranges. It's like a summery thing. I don't know. I really like putting as many oranges as possible in a Blue Moon, drinking them, and then eating the oranges. That's what I like to do. Hey, what's up, Jay Strick? Speaking of Jay Strick, he's here right now. He's here right now. How are you guys doing? I was saying something. Distracted myself talking about the stream with Dylan. Doesn't matter. We'll come back around to it. Won't we? So, David Hatchett asked, what was your favorite comic book cover artist? Let's look at some of the responses here. Fanboy Russ, what's up? Says Alex Ross. Ghost Pooh says Justin Mason. Easy Reader, what's up? Says Jock. Eddie. And hello to everybody that's here. I usually start running through the names, and I didn't do that. And I apologize. Eddie says Art Germ. David says Alex Ross. That's a good pick. What's up, S Squared? What's up, Ruben? Jesse, Eric, PCP Assemble. What's up, God Tank? What's up, Justin? How are you doing? Atari. Atari was first today. Dodora, what's up? Lewis. John. Michael says Alex Ross. That's a good one. 2-1 Yankees now. Okay. Arminio's in the house. Ford with the 2-run homer. 4-1 Yankees. Hell yeah. Woohoo. Woohoo. All right. Did I miss any? I don't know. Those are some good picks. If I had to pick a favorite cover artist, it's Mike Mignola. Like, seriously. A Mike Mignola cover to me is a thing of beauty, a thing of art, something to be hung, not just in your house, but in a museum. Like, seriously. I'd pick Mike Mignola as my favorite cover artist. After him would be Francisco Francavilla. I love his covers. There was a series where he was doing all these variants for Dynamite books that were really good. They were really good. And they would make you want to buy the Dynamite book. And then usually if you did, you're like, yeah. But he's a fantastic cover artist. All of his stuff on Archie, and it's hard for me to pass up a Francisco Francavilla cover. I hope that's how you say his name. Francavilla. I met him. I got an Argento that he did, an image of Dario Argento, and he autographed it for me. I need to get that framed, especially since Horrorfest is coming up. What's up, Hamburger Basket? What's up, Brian? What's up, Nova? What's up, Average Will? What's up, Adam? Oh, that is a lot of orange, but don't worry. There's going to be more orange gets put in it through the night. I'm not kidding. That's what happens. I got my Department of Truth pin in the mail the other day. That's super cool. What do you got to do to get a pin? I want to know that. I want to know. The Poopin'. Herminio, your name is forever going to be attached to Poopin' because of that one mistype. Don't you want to join us in the Poopin'? Hamburger Basket says, "Good evening, Robbie and all here. Anyone seen the McFarlane sci-fi doc?" Yeah, I've seen it. I like it. It should be longer. It should be at least double the amount of time. It's like 40-something minutes to that they barely cover things. Like, we could dig a little bit deeper into some of these things, like, for instance, the bankruptcy, how he pulled himself out of it. Yeah, a lot of stuff that they could have covered and developed or devoted more time to fully, right? But, 'tis what it is. My favorite cover artist is Petty Marvel with those comics or Wednesday masterpieces. That's a weird stretch, isn't it? Comics on sale on Wednesday. Okay. Go you. So DC releases them a day early. What's your problem? Come on. There are a lot of people bothered by that. Don't worry, we will be discussing the DC stuff later on in the show. William says, favorite cover artist, Wrightson or Steranko? Yeah, really good. Going old school with it. But I like it. Steranko's in particular. Wrightson's great. His cover work's pretty solid, but I think his interiors outshine. I could say that about Mignola, but I just love the way he designs a cover. But Steranko, wow. What amazing covers, especially on that Shield run. Of course, the famous one, but lots of other ones too. Yeah, Snake Mountain's nice, isn't it? Hell yeah. I'm going to use the Snake Mountain and the Castle Grayskull as part of the Halloween set. So I'm about to take all this stuff off of this. All the toys. And they'll be replaced with, like, Halloween appropriate. More so Halloween appropriate toys, I guess. That's a long poop, Herminio. Oh, $10 when you bought the Razor Blades magazine. I got you. I still haven't read that. I got a copy of it in my email. I haven't read it. Jay Strick says, yeah, that doc, speaking of the Todd McFarlane doc, he says, that doc made me read the first 25 issues of Spawn, finally. Dude has been grinding his whole life. Love it. Yeah, he has. I am now through like 60 issues of Spawn. I'm freaking loving it even more, y'all. I really, really am. When it starts getting into like all this weird stuff about like the creatures of the night and the worms and his throne of corpses, like I'm eating this shit up, man. Like 100%. Arminio wasn't pooping. He said popping in, but he said pooping in. And it's just funny. Samuel says definitely Steranko. Brian says Bill Sienkiewicz is my favorite cover artist. That's a great one too. 100%. That Pennywise pop is nice. Thank you, Sam. Hey, what's up, Justin? The Justin Richards is in the house, y'all. I'm doing good. How are you doing, buddy? I had a Steranko-inspired variant from my book. I love it. Yes, you did. I was there. Believe it or not, young man, I was there. I'm just kidding. I keep doing all these inside jokes between me and Strickland, just mostly to make him laugh. And John just distracted me. I'm turning in to say hi. What's up, Hammer Time? So that the whole, believe it or not, young man, I was there. That's a reference to a slightly contentious moment I had with Chris Claremont the last time I had a panel with him. But yeah, the finger guns variant was dope. David Finch's covers are gorgeous, says Jay Strick. Some of them. Sometimes he gives like Tim Drake a really weird long neck for some reason. I'm really referencing one particular issue of like Batman the Dark Knight or something. There's a Doctor Strange Bernie Wrightson poster that is one of my grails. Holy cow. A Doctor Strange Bernie Wrightson poster. If it's a blacklight poster, that's even better. I would like to get some of those vintage blacklight Marvel posters. I would. I really would. The Death Metal 3 Robin King cover is, what's his name, y'all? It's like Federico Federini? Something like that. Something like that. Trad Moore's Silver Surfer Black is a thing of beauty, says Matthew. And Matthew, I 100% agree with you. I absolutely love that book. Number 2. I believe it was number 2 on my favorite Donny Cates comics. Blacklight posters are pretty pricey. I'll tell you what, Brian, I would really like to get some reproductions of the original vintage Marvel Blacklight posters. That would be cool. I need that in my life. Nothing better than just chilling out some tunes and some Blacklight Marvel posters, right? Whoops. Hitting the table. Just turning in and say, I love that. Tim Longneck Drake. That is what they call him. That was his name in high school. Shocked to see Stephen Platt is doing covers again. Yeah, he did. What did he do? He did, I can't even remember what cover it was. It was something. I haven't seen him in a while. Stephen Platt. Let's talk about comics in the 90s. Yeah. My whole life, Flash has been my favorite comic, but damn, that death metal is fire. So good. So good. Yeah. I've actually got to read the guidebook that comes out this week, and you want to read it. Like, if you're confused about what happened between the end of Scott Snyder's Justice League run and the beginning of death metal, it fills you in on everything, and it lays out exactly how the world fell from the end of Justice League to death metal #1. It lays it out step by step. It's got all these descriptions of the different lands and some of the other characters. And then it's got a Harley Quinn story by Chip Zdarsky. That's pretty good. And then they got an Aquaman story by Becky Cloonan. And they've got like a Wonder Woman and Poison Ivy story by Vita Ayala and, what's his name? Dan Panosian or something. Something like that. So, yeah. It was definitely worth it. It's a $5.99 one, but it's big. It's long, and mostly it's you're gonna want it because it does fill in the gap between Justice League and death metal. Justin says Francisco Francavilla for favorite cover artist. That's one of my picks. I said Mignola and Francavilla. Hell yeah, love his work. I've got his Archie art book, and it's just gorgeous. I was telling everybody I have a Dario Argento print that he did that he signed for me last year in North Carolina, and I got to get that framed and put up. Mike Zeck is a really good pick, Jesse. Heavy Metal Wolfman says Robin King looks like the lead singer from Cradle of Filth. Heavy Metal Wolfman, do I know you? Are you who I think you are? If not, I had a homie literally this week tell me the exact same thing, and we looked up pictures of him, and he was right. I think I know Heavy Metal Wolfman. I think I know him. Oh, bro, Justin, his Archie covers. But then if you do the covers on the Archie meets Kiss, oh my goodness, those are freaking awesome. Like, I don't have comic books framed and hung up on my wall. I mean, I don't know. They're all in boxes, but like I would definitely hang those ones up. I should probably hang those ones up. Those are amazing. I'd love to get bigger versions of them. That'd be cool. I don't know if I want to dedicate that much wall space for Kiss in my house, but who knows? Maybe one day. Maybe one day. What else we got here? Shima Thor versus Silver Surfer, first Surfer run, Marvel Silver Age. Yeah, that's a really, really good one. Was that Silver Surfer number 4 or something like that? 6, 4, something. I do want to remind everybody that this upcoming Friday night we'll be talking about Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. And I'm very excited for it. 3 weeks of Bill and Ted coverage, all to celebrate the legacy and the history of the film, and of course, the new film coming out. I'm very excited. So Heavy Metal Wolfman is not, because my other friend Robbie, his name's Robbie, he said the exact same thing, and I could see him making a YouTube account called Heavy Metal Wolfman. But right on, brother. Great minds alike. Amen. Robbie, do you think a new team is needed for Immortal Hulk? And how do you feel about FF? I think FF is okay. It's fine. I've gone through worst Fantastic Four runs. It's not bad, but it's not doing anything that's grabbing attention, you know? But it's okay. But it's not one of my favorite comics. Fantastic Four is always one of my favorite comics, but it's not one of my favorite runs going on right now. Um, the I don't think Immortal Hulk needs a new team because it's Al Ewing and Joe Bennett. That's what made that book. They just need to me, they just need to firmly plant it into a horror way of storytelling and do a little bit less of just the too many Hulk superhero-y type stuff. So it's meandering around a bit for me, but I think still overall I like it, and I like the direction that Al Ewing is taking. I love Joe Bennett's artwork on it. It's like really good for someone who's been in the industry for as long as he has. To really start cranking the best of his work at this point is really exceptional. And yeah, so I really it's not even from the beginning. Like the first couple of issues I really like, but it started losing me and then it pulls me back in, and it's a bit up and down. It doesn't stay consistently good, but when it's good, it's really freaking good. Oh, that Keanu Reeves comic, Berserker or whatever, I'm excited to check it out. It's got Matt Kent's doing it with him, so that seems pretty freaking cool to me. I like his work a lot, so. It's the writer Folklords. Mind Management? Mind Management. Come on, y'all. Mind Management. Mind Management. You guys experience any kind of glitching or anything? Just let me know. YouTube's telling me it's possible, but I don't think it's been I don't know. I have no idea. Guess it doesn't really matter. But no, I wouldn't say a new team is needed for Immortal Hulk. I would like the story to get a bit more streamlined into a horror direction. But, it's not my decision. But I don't ever not enjoy reading an issue of it. Eric, what's up? Been watching your channel from my TV for a while. First time doing the chat. Well, thank you for joining in, Eric. John Byrne was my favorite run of Fantastic Four. It is one of my favorites as well, and I'm a huge John Byrne fan. It was the first name that I recognized as a comic book fan. The first person where I realized that every time his name was on a book I liked it was John Byrne. And that was his Superman run and his Fantastic Four run, and then Namor, and I love the hell out of it. Dan Mora has been doing great covers. Fantastic covers. John Byrne's a great cover artist at times, too. Sometimes it's just typical run-of-the-mill, like, John Byrne, Marvel House style type stuff. It's good. It's great. But his, one of my favorite covers of all time is a John Byrne book, and it's the Spectacular Spider-Man. I don't know, is it 101? It's something, but it's the one that's all black and white, and he's in the black costume, and, he's, swinging through New York, and all you see is the negative space, and it just looks beautiful. Beautiful. This looks beautiful. Mike Grell's James Bond and Green Arrow Longbow Hunters covers are hot. Yeah. Good stuff. What DC Comics character, Al Ewing and Donny Cates, you think they could write? Well, Al Ewing? Green Lantern? Donny Cates? Think about this. Donny Cates. Yeah, maybe Al Ewing on Flash, Donny Cates on Green Lantern. Like Grant Morrison gives it up, which I think he will. Donny Cates, could do some cool Green Lantern stuff, I think. I couldn't see any of them on Superman. I could see Al Ewing doing a good job on Superman, but I don't know. I did not notice that Sal Buscema's name was in the rubble in Immortal Hulk. I have to look back for that. In the most recent issue? If Al Ewing and Donny Cates did DC, they should do Phantom Stranger. That would be a cool one. You checking out the Dark One graphic novel from Vault? Bruh, I'm going to check out any book from Vault. Justin's right. Stephanie Hans does amazing covers as well. Doesn't Stephanie Hans do the interior for Die? What are your expectations about the next X-Men event, X of Swords? My expectations is that I'm going to like some chapters, not like other chapters, but overall, I think I'm going to like it. I think it's cool. Smart move to giving Donnie space and cosmic stuff. Yeah, I think he could do some cool stuff with Green Lantern. Some wild out there cosmic stuff. I'm reading through Next Men. Hell yeah, Ganja Barbie. Next Men was like the first adult comic I ever read. And like my parents didn't know what the hell I was buying. But they were like, hey, just buy that. That's fine. And man, I loved it. I mean, I read that before Watchmen or, you know, obviously before Authority, but any other of those big things where they were kind of like deconstructing superheroes in a way, kind of like doing it in a more realistic fashion. Like Next Men blew my ass away. I was just like, what the hell? They're having sex. They're getting their like shit blown off. Like people are dying. It's real. Like what? It's crazy. I loved it. Kate's on Ragman. How about Kate's on like Justice League Dark? I think that could be cool. Some like dark magic type stuff. Justin says Stephanie Hans does do interiors for Die. She did a Dead Man Gothic book a couple years ago that I injected straight into my veins. And he's still with us, so there you go. Zombie X Dance, I am right there with you. They say, so looking forward to We Only Find Them When They're Dead. That's the new Al Ewing Boom book. I'm very excited about that. Speaking of boom books, let's talk about it. What was your pick of the week? What was your favorite comic book last week? What was your pick of the week? My pick of the week was Seven Secrets. #1 from Boom Studios. Writer Tom Taylor. I loved the hell out of this book. I've actually gotten to read the first 2 issues, and 2 completely sells me on the story. But having already read this, when I reread it this week, the story, I allowed the story to just kind of sink in a little bit. And it's got amazing action. The artwork by Danielle Di Nicuolo. But the artwork is absolutely amazing. By Amante on the coloring, that's fantastic. It's dynamic. It's got a kinetic charge to it that really helps the action sequences just like pop off the page. Like it would do Kirby proud. The layouts and the action design and things in this book are absolutely amazing. But Tom Taylor also gives us a great concept of this idea that there are 7 secrets of the world that are so dangerous that they have to be protected and nobody can know them. So there's this certain group of individuals that guard these secrets with their lives, basically. And that's a great, cool concept for a story, but then he anchors it with this emotional theme, this bond, this sense of family and love, and he really captures it. And the art really captures those moments as well. So it does the subtle and the direct, just in-your-face, explosive action stuff, and it handles it so freaking well. And it gets even better in issue #2 because the story really gets going. This is mostly all set up and like the origin, but it's fan-freaking-tastic. This was my pick of the week. Easy. What was yours? What was your pick of the week? I want to know. Reverse Amoeba, Donny Cates on Amazing Spider-Man could be really cool. That time he wrote Amazing Spider-Man in that one issue of Doctor Strange, and didn't Zdarsky draw that? I think, I don't know, but I don't know if I'm remembering that correct, but that was really good. When Spider-Man talks to the spider. Jay says Something is Killing the Children, a fantastic issue. Lemire on Spectre would be really cool. S Squared said Something is Killing the Children. David Hatch says Richie Rich. Really? That's interesting. Zombie says, there with you, Robbie. Loved this issue. Fable says 7 Secrets. William says 7 Secrets is really good. Herminio says Something is Killing the Children and Alienated. Both great books. Both Boom books. Boom nailed it this week. I really loved Red Mother this week, too. I think all the Boom books I read were on my top 10. Samuel says, Undone by Blood was really good, but my pick of the week is Stealth. Yeah, I love the ending of Undone by Blood. I think they nailed it. That's a great piece, and it's really cool to see that Zach and Lonnie are coming back to explore another more modernized Western, along with the return of Saul, who is the character from the Shadow of a Wanted Man, the old school Western. I love that. I just love it. And Sammy Cavella, I hope it's the same art team. Cavella and Wordy were so crucial to the success of that book as far as atmosphere and tone. And guys, just the way Sammy Cavella lays out and composes a page is, to me, just stunning and brilliant. He did a book with Saladin Ahmed called Abbott that made my top 10 the year it came out. The art in that is fantastic. It's great stuff. Zombie says, I had lowered expectations because I haven't been into Boom books lately. It's a minority opinion, it seems, nowadays, but it's a valid opinion, and I respect it. Black Stars Above is really good, and it's better to me to read it all at once. I like reading it issue to issue. It was starting to lose me just a little bit. But if you let that story wash over you and all in one sitting, and then just let that mood sink in, it's disturbing, and it's very effective. And I think that Lonnie Nadler had amazing, and Jenny Chaw, that's like her first comic. Like, are you kidding me? There's no way. And wasn't it Brad Simpson? Was he the colorist? I don't remember. And Osman El Howe, just Haas's top 3 letters in the game right now. And his lettering in that book in particular was really good. Because to be able to do cursive type in a comic and still make it feel like textured and real and not like computerized it's really, really good. Fanboy says, Death Metal 3, so does Strickland. Yeah, the Robin King. Oh my god. It's so freaking good. Justin says, Tom Taylor's always an easy pick, and Zdarsky did draw that short in Donnie's Doctor Strange run. Hell yeah. That's like one of my favorite Spider-Man stories of the last, 20 years, probably. It's just Spider-Man's talking to a spider. And he goes through this existential crisis because of it. It's really funny. It's so freaking good. I think he would do really well on Amazing Spider-Man. But I know it seems, I don't know him. Justin knows him. But it seems like he's really into big, epic, giant, crazy, cosmic kookiness. Which, that's the kind of shit I like. And that's why I'm loving death metal like all of y'all. Death metal is just winning me over. Winning me over. Christopher says, checked out Clean Room by Gail Simone. It was excellent. Deserved a longer run. I only read the first issue there. I need to get back to it. William loved Venom. That's a good book this week. Ranger Slayer is dope. Once a Future and Something is Killing the Children. Awesome. You're right, Michael. I read the first issue of The Grieveling, and the second one was supposed to come out, but our shop was shorted, so I didn't get to read the finale of it. Steve Niles' book, right? Ganja Bar B. Have you read Punk Rock Jesus? I freaking love Sean Murphy's art style and aesthetic. I love his art too, and I really, really like Punk Rock Jesus. That was one of my favorite comic books when that came out. That story is really wild, and I have a lot of fun with it. Eric, sad to say Tom Taylor's Suicide Squad is canceled. Issue 11 will be the final issue. I'm sure that gives them the chance to wrap up the story. But it really is unfortunate because that has been... I mean, I just recently got caught up on it, but I would dare to say that aside from event books like Death Metal, it's one of DC's absolute best books right now, and it really sucks. Jay's excited for the new Sweet Tooth series by Jeff Lemire. That's right. It comes out in November. DC Black Label, 6-issue series. Sweet Tooth returns. I need to read Sweet Tooth. I've never read it. I need to. What's up, Two Gun Pedro? Pew pew. How are you doing? How are you doing? Jay Strick says, well, here at PCP we're sponsored by Boom Studios and Vault. No. I do get called a shill. I've never been called a shill for Boom, just Vault. It's not my fault they just make a bunch of dope-ass shit. And I'm not just saying that because Justin's here on the channel. Justin's the one that they sent in here to make sure that we're still speaking good about him. in order to, in order to make sure that the check clears. Nah. They're just a really great team at Vault. Really cool individuals. I mean, we have good relationships here at PCP with Vault. We have good relationships with TKO. Where's Marvel at? They need to call me. I got to tell them about my 5-year Blade plan. It's going to drop that in every stream possible. Somebody's going to see it one day. Then they're going to ask me. I'm going to explain it. I'll be like, that's no good. I'll be like, bullshit. It was Brad Simpson. Glad to know. There's so many comics. Sometimes I'm always worried that I'm misremembering. C3, the topic right now is basically what was your favorite comic book of last week. But we've also just been talking about other stuff. Do you think Boom Studios is going through a creative renaissance right now, like Image has been for the last 7 years, in my opinion? I think the Image renaissance kind of waned out a little bit there for a while. But they do have still good books. But Boom is going through a renaissance. Like, Boom has never been a company where I'm like, if it comes from Boom, I'm guaranteed that we're going to like it. Like, that's what they're doing right now. And they keep blowing me away with this stuff. Seven Secrets was a great launch. We've got other launches coming, including We Only Find Them When They're Dead. That seems really cool. So, yeah, Boom is more than on a roll right now. I think with Gideon Falls, it might not be the end. I have a feeling that it might continue with another series like the Cinder Saga. It might. It could. It could go to a different story or something like that. But I would also just like to see if it wrap up. But either way, I'm cool with that. Regardless, it's not the end of the Lemire, Sorrentino, Stewart team up. That's next level stuff that they do. Justin says, Donnie actually loves Spider-Man. But I think Marvel likes him on the big bombastic cosmic stuff. Someday I imagine he'll get to do more Peter. Cool. If he wants to do Peter, then let him do it. Let Nick Spencer finish his Kindred shit, and then... But that would be cool. He does a hell of a job on Venom. He's writing the best Venom series I've ever read. And I've read every single Venom series because Venom's one of my favorite characters. He's doing a hell of a job on Venom. And his Thor run's heating up like crazy. People are already... getting super hyped for number 6. It's already starting to go up. Justin said, I just rewatched Blade last night. I would kill to write him. Note to self, Robbie, never share your Blade plan with Justin. So sad Hellblazer got the axe. Yeah, I think Spurrier's been doing an amazing run on that. And it was nice to see Hellblazer and Constantine return to those like Vertigo type roots. So Fable says Boom is my favorite publisher right now. Hell yeah. Herminio is always mentioned in Tapeworm Boy. I've already told you I bit off more than I could chew when I started talking about Tapeworm Boy. Right now it's just not, I don't have the time to do it. I want to. I have all these ideas for it, just being very absurd and obnoxious with it, but Aquaman will be back, God Tank, don't worry. Kelly Sue DeConnick even tweeted something like she said something like there's a difference between final and finale. So none of my local LCSs carry Vault or Scout. Only one carries Vault because of Carl's shout out. Man, that sucks. Well, go to other sources, I would say. Get them online. Yeah, Boom's doing great stuff. Really looking forward to Power Rangers New Draken New Dawn coming this week. What are your top 10 independent series so far of 2020? Bruh, it's a tough thing to do off the dome. I name a few right now off the, like, seriously. Alienated, Gideon Falls, Ice Cream Man, Something is Killing the Children, Once and Future, Red Mother, Finger Guns. I didn't just say that because Justin is here either. I really didn't. I'm loving Finger Guns. Finger Guns is Bleed Them Dry. Bruh. Creature Feature was this year, right? Creature Feature's one of mine too. Well, let's see what else. I'm just gonna stick with those. Oh, the plot. You're right. I forgot the plot. Yeah. How did I forget the plot? I like the Wind series so far. It took 2 issues to really get me into it, but it was originally written to be a graphic novel. I am going to watch that Lovecraft Country show on HBO. That is my plan. Scout Comics might be the next Boom Studios? Maybe. I think Scout does some good stuff, but they haven't been blowing me away line-wide yet. It eats what feeds it's really, really good, though. That one's out. And the Vlad Dracul artwork is amazing, because it's Andrea Muti. Constantine will hopefully remain in Justly Dark, and well, see, here's the problem. Is like now I'm worried about things like Justly Dark maintaining, because they DC, we'll talk about this a little bit more in depth in the second segment, but like, or the second block I should say, but DC is going to cancel like 20 to 25% of their publishing line, right? And we got this wave of cancelizations right now. That's not those cancelizations. Those are things that were planned already to wrap up, probably because of the switch over to 5G, which is not happening. And so there you go. I'm worried about Justice League Dark because Rom is really hitting his stride on that book right now, and I think that he's got some wild, cool ideas for Swamp Thing mythology. And if they do cancel that, screw it then. Just give him a Swamp Thing graphic novel or something to do. Man, come on. Strickland, you used to sell your blood and plasma when you were 16 to pay for dates? It's a weird stretch, bro. Kids is good. There's a new issue of that coming out. Wonder Woman will sell JLD. Maybe. But what they're going to start doing is looking at branding, and they're going to start looking at like the lowest selling titles. So, who knows? If they sell a lot of them, so start buying Just League Dark, buy 2 copies each. Justin says, I know Rom was tweeting about getting to work more with DC just the other day, so at least there's that. Yeah. And he's doing Catwoman. He takes over Catwoman at issue 25. I'm excited for that. But I'd rather him on a book like Just League Dark or Swamp Thing or even Constantine, like a Hellblazer book. Do another Hellblazer book. Looking forward to Department of Truth in Stillwater. Me too. Of course you were poor, Strickland. You were 16. You shouldn't be loaded when you're 16. If you are, you're probably an asshole. Kids is great. There's a new issue this week. We'll be taking a look at upcoming comics soon. We got a lot of people in here. I hope you've all hit the thumbs up button. It really helps us out, especially when the show is going on. We got about half as many likes and thumbs up as we have people in here, so that thumbs up button. It lets YouTube know that we're having a good time. Good old time. Now, last week we went 4 hours. I'm not planning on a 4-hour stream this week. But I wasn't planning on one last week either. But I am making tacos tonight, so I don't think we're doing 4. We're definitely not doing 5. Guarantee it. And though you could be technical and be like, yeah, 4-hour live stream, maybe. Let's cut out the music and it's only like 3.5. Okay. Perry, my man, good to see you. Sorry to hear about Edwin, homie. Hope you're doing good. Hope his family's doing well. Will we ever see an ongoing Swamp Thing book again? I mean, you'll see books that are labeled as ongoings, but every Swamp Thing series just seems like it's going to end at some point. I don't mind books not being ongoing, as long as someone gets to tell their story. You know, like Scott Snyder. His run on Swamp Thing was great, and I like his run. He got to do his run, so that you have it. You always have that. DC really focuses a lot more on evergreen projects than Marvel does, and I think that's one of the reasons why DC sometimes has, even though they don't sell as much of a market share at times as Marvel, they're a steady number 2 though. Obviously, I think that God, I'm losing my train of thought. I think that because they make evergreen projects, that works. And so, like, Alan Moore's Swamp Thing is always something that's relevant to read. It stands on its own as something that will always be on bookshelves. Watchmen, all the Alan Moore stuff, the Grant Morrison stuff, things like Authority and Planetary, Dark Knight Returns, Batman Year One, Superman, All-Star Superman, things like that. Then that's what Marvel lacks compared to DC. Thank you to Dora for the super chat. He says, I really enjoy your content. Keep doing what you do. Joker Van. Well, thank you for the support and helping us with our goals. Justin posed a really good question there. Thank you once again to Dora. Justin says, this is 100% selfish, but what DC book do you think you'd like to see me write based on what you've seen from Finger Guns? Anyone can answer. Green Arrow. I think you would kill it on Green Arrow. You could make it humorous. You could have it be filled with relevance. You could speak on, even different social issues because that's actually part of the character's history. I think you would kill it on Green Arrow, personally, homie. I really do. His name is Hellboy. Thank you for the reminder. Yo, Justice League Odyssey is my book. I heard that they were coming for it. Yeah, it's getting canceled, but it's getting to wrap its story up. That's what the important thing about it is. Justice League Odyssey, J-Lo, as we like to call it here at PCP, because we just love abbreviations. I think that's a book that's designed to tell a story. It's not designed to go forever. And I think that's fine. J-Lo. It's been really good, by the way. That last issue had some great dark side bits that was just amazing. So powerful. I just got my trade paperback in of Strange Skies over East Berlin. Strange Skies over East Berlin. Should write a theme song for it and send it to Jeff Loveness. What's your thoughts on this series? Because I've already read the single issues, but I just wanted to buy the trade anyway. I love it. I love it. It's got a quick ending, but that gets ironed out when you read it all in one sitting, and it's very enjoyable. I would have liked to have seen it be expanded a little bit more, but Jeff Loveness is actually a really good writer. He's got another 4-issue series he did at Boom called Judas. He did that several years ago, and that book is haunting and really, really good. They will continue making a Swamp Thing TV show. Have they announced that they're actually going to do season 2? I knew that they're going to air season 1 on CW, but I don't know if I've heard that they're actually going ahead with a Swamp Thing season 2. But Swamp Thing is always a character that anybody should... There's always going to be opportunity for Swamp Thing. I'm loving the usage of him in death metal. It's just tiny, but he's going to be a big deal. You just wait and see. Lewis says, I enjoyed Strange Skies over East Berlin. Didn't like the ending, though. C3 Comics says Teen Titans. That would be a good one, too. I bet Justin would really like to write Damian Wayne, or at least... I should say, I would really like to see him write Damian Wayne. Nightwing would be a good one. Blue Beetle. People are throwing some Marvel ones in, too. Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Peter Parker. Joker Man, yeah. Generation X, that would be cool. Oh, but one taking place in the 90s? Marvel doesn't utilize their multiverse as well as they could, and they're not able to make those evergreen books sometimes because of that. What do I think about The Goddamned? I really like it. I like it a lot. I just recently got caught up on it, so I could cover the new one, The Virgin Brides. That's been an interesting series. I wonder if they're bringing Kane into that, or if it's just a whole new story. But I reading the first one especially, I freaking loved that one. It's brutal, holds no punches, biblical epic. I like it. Just trying to figure out what pitches he should get together. Good luck with those pitches you're doing, homie. Captain Carrot and the Zoo Crew. I'd like to see Grant Morrison do that. Wouldn't that be fun? Like a 4-issue Grant Morrison Captain Carrot series. What's the Yankee score? Anybody? Are you looking forward to the Batwing Batman series? Are you talking about the John Ridley one they're going to do with Luke Fox? Yeah. John Ridley is an Academy Award winner, right? Didn't he win for 12 Years a Slave? So I'm excited to see what he's going to do. I'm excited to see it. Same thing with his the other history of the DC Universe. I've been excited for that since they first announced it. Let's take a look at what's coming up in comic shops this week. We got some good stuff. Let's start and see if Dark Horse has anything. No, they don't. Not really. Some hardcovers. Still no singles this week. From IDW, we have G.I. Joe number 7. We have Sonic the Hedgehog number 30. Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Too Long a Sacrifice number 2. TMNT Urban Legends number 26. Transformers 22. Transformers 84 Secrets and Lies number 2. Transformers vs. Terminator number 3. And a new one, Voyage to the Stars number 1. That's from IDW. Let's check out. I guess see if Dynamite's got anything worth mentioning. Game of Thrones Clash of Kings number 6. Killing Red Sonja number 3. Red Sonja 18. A bunch of variant covers. Red Sonja, Vampirella, Betty and Veronica number 12. And I guess Vampirella, Red Sonja number 9. Yeah. From Boom. From Boom Studios, we have Faithless 2, number 3. We got Firefly, number 19. We've got Dark Crystal, The Age of Resistance, number 10. Once in Future, number 10. I've read that one already, and it's dope as hell. Power Rangers Draken, New Dawn, number 1. And, of course, it's got a foil cover. Hell yeah, brother. All right. That's from Boom. From other publishers, we've got Archangel number 8, or Archangel 8 number 4, Artemis and Assassins number 4, Ash and Thorn number 4, Atlantis Wasn't Built for Tourists number 1. I've read the first issue of this, and definitely you want to check this one out. It's from Scout. Dead Day sees its second issue. Hotel sees its final issue, number 4. Fantastic book. Another great one from Scout this week, It Eats What Feeds It, number 2. Kids, number 6 from Ablaze. From Vault, we have No One's Rose, number 4. From Valiant, we have Rye, number 6. We have Rick and Morty Go to Hell, number 3 from Oni Press. Also from Vault, we got a brand new launch, Shadow Service, number 1. I was sent an early look and somehow forgot to fucking read that. Anyway, Yasmin, number 2 also from Scout Comics. I have read that one, and that book is really, really solid. I like it a lot. From Image Comics this week, we have A Man Among Ye, number 2. We've got Decorum, number 4. Pick of the Week alert. We've got Gideon Falls, number 24. Pick of the Week alert. We've got Die, 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 number 12. What else? Oh, they're doing a hardcover of Last of the Independents. That was a Matt Fraction book from back in the AIT Planet Lair days. Man. I think I still have my copy of that. That's really cool. Low 24, that's a good book. Low 24, Ludocrats number 4, Savage Dragon 251. Let's jump over to Marvel. From Marvel, we have Ant-Man number 5, the final issue. We have Avengers 35, Cable number 3, Captain America 22, Captain Marvel. Damn, we just have 2 Captain Marvels. Captain Marvel number 20. They're just speeding through the Empire stuff, right? Conan Battle for the Serpent Crown number 4. Empire X-Men number 4. Excalibur number 11. Lords of Empire Swordsman number 1. Y'all, you know I haven't been liking Empire at all, but the Celestial Messiah one-shot written by Alex Packnadel was really good. This Swordsman one-shot, it's kind of like tied in with it, and it's also written by Alex Packnadel. Definitely want to check that out. Maestro number 1 is out this week, probably Marvel's biggest release. A facsimile edition of Spider-Man number 1. I'm all for facsimile editions, but you can get a Spider-Man number 1, Todd McFarlane, very easy. Why a facsimile of that one? I would have liked a facsimile of Amazing Spider-Man number 1. That one's a little bit more difficult to find out there in the wild. Spider-Woman number 3, Star number 4, Star Wars Bounty Hunters number 4, Thor number 6. Sellout alert, y'all. Valkyrie Jane Foster number 10. And Wolverine number 4. And from DC Comics, we have Aquaman 62, Batman 97, we have Catwoman 24, Dark Knight's Death Metal Guidebook. It's a one-shot that fills in the gap for you from Justice League, the end of Scott Snyder's Justice League run, to Death Metal number 1. We have Harley Quinn 75, that's the final issue. Justice League 51, it's another filler story, but it's by Jeff Loveness, and it's actually really good. Metal Men number 9, Nightwing 73, Joker War tie-in, Teen Titans 44, The Wonder Woman Annual number 4, and Wonder Woman Dead Earth number 4. That's the final issue, and it's amazing. So good. So that's what's coming out in comic shops this week. I am most looking forward to Decorum and Gideon Falls. Hey, Bueller's in the house. What's up, Bueller? Actually uploading the coffee video as we speak. Turned out good. Hell yeah, I'm excited to see the new set in action. It looks amazing. What if Captain Carrot was Kindred and Spider-Man and it starts the DC Marvel crossover? Wouldn't that be wild and crazy and cool? Just play the video, Robbie. I'll send it to you. I don't want to play your video on my stream. I mean, I would, but it would take your video. Those videos are what, like 15 minutes? Somebody had asked me where to go to get information on like what comics are coming out and see the covers. Go to the Comics with Bueller channel. For instance, this Wednesday, he's going to release a video talking about the books coming up the next week. And it's the best preview, and I think it's the most watched preview on YouTube for New Comic Book Day. And it's always well done and very entertaining. So maybe send me the video each week, and I'll speed it double time, and I'll provide commentary. How about that? And now it's time for my commentary on Comics with Bueller's preview video. Dead Earth is a wild, bombastic finale. Really good. One of the reasons why I do the What's Coming Up in Comics this week segment on this bit, though, is so that I know. Because I never look until today, for the most part. But the tomorrow will be all in my head, because that's what all day tomorrow will be, is getting ready for this week. Yeah, it is a bummer that Last Ronin's getting delayed. Not coming out till the end of October now, y'all. Sucks. Justin says, don't forget to read Finger Guns number 5 on September 2nd. Can't wait for it. Can't wait to get an early copy, Justin. Hint, hint. Have a good one, buddy. Making dinner and comics? Hell yeah. That was nice having Justin on here for a while. Trying to mine the PCP army for ideas for pitches to DC and Marvel. But hell yeah, man. I'd love it if you got to do some of those. Oh yeah, dude. The end of Finger Guns 4 was crazy. When I told you it was, yeah, Last Ronin got delayed. They're replacing one of the artists. Apparently there was a negative reaction to the Ashcan preview. And so they... Because I think it's Andy Kun, something like that. I think they're replacing him. So the book's not coming out till the end of October. Comics with Bueller says, check out Robbie himself in tomorrow's coffee video. He's got his coffee and an action figure that you'll just have to watch and find out what it is. Okay. I hope you like those, Bueller. I have coffee and oh, yeah, so you chose that one first. I thought you'd like that one, homie. I think Bueller probably just wants me to send him clips of me being like, hey, you're watching Coffee and Comics. I'm Rockin Robbie, and my pick of the week is... But I always try to give each clip their personality. How are reactions gauged on ash cans? Probably through social media. And they pay attention to the YouTubes as well. They were absolutely great. You're welcome. Thank you. I actually had to re-record them for you. I had to do it twice because I kept saying the Comics and Coffee video. And then I was like, that doesn't seem right. It's Coffee and Comics. What did I say? And I looked and I just kept over and over saying Comics and Coffee. In fact, one of the ones I kept, I think, still says it. Yeah, Devil's Highway is a great series. I've read it. We were shorted all of our copies of issue number 2 at the shop, but I did have a digital preview copy that I got to read, and I loved issue number 2. It was great. That's a really good one. Devil's Highway, Hotel, and Old Haunts, and Red Border too, but especially Year Zero. Those are some great AWA books. They may be watching us now. I don't know. Are they watching? More events like Death Metal. Less events like Empire. That's what I want to say. All right, y'all. In the second segment, we're going to be talking about the DC Comics drama. Some have described it as a bloodbath. We'll just talk about that a little bit and try to see the positive side of it, understand the negative side of it, and not go into panic mode or blame it on things that have literally nothing to do with it. I've seen a lot of misinformation about that coming out. Reggie with the super chat. Thank you so much, my man. Hey, yo. Let me tell you about this middleman I know. His name is Hellboy. Crazy Joker man. Whoa. All right. Yeah. Thank you, Reggie. I really do appreciate that. We are getting some shelving, getting some new lights. We got a new set, so there will be this set, and then there's going to be a second set, and we're very excited. The second set will be able to have more people on videos like movie reviews and even Comics Revisited and stuff like that. So we're very, very excited about getting into that. I think Bueller needs to give you more clips on his Coffee and Comic show. I think what I really want to do is he needs to sing an intro to the coffee video. I did sing a bit in some of the clips I sent you, Bueller. I don't know why. I sing way too much on this channel nowadays, I'll be honest with you. But Bueller, don't forget, I had talked to you about doing a clip for me to add into the live streams, kind of like a commercial reminding everybody about the show tomorrow, and I can mention the topic. I think the topic tomorrow is, God, I just watched Bob's video and he said it. It's how do you protect your comics? My answer, bags and boards and short boxes on a shelf. I got one of them garage shelves that you can buy from like Lowe's or Home Depot or Walmart or whatever. I got mine at Walmart. And it holds... I don't have any... I have boxes of Pops and figures on the top. So I don't have any on the top shelf. But I do have... It fits 5 short boxes on each shelf. So I have 20 short boxes there. Then I got other ones stacked on the floor. I'd like to get a second one of these, actually. If I can move out that giant shelf of Star Trek books, put it somewhere. But where I was thinking about putting it's going to be the new set. And I'm actually going to have a different shelf there. Some of them Jim Mint type shelves, but different. I mean, they're literally like, I think the same shelves, but mine are going to be black. But you could probably fit 25 short boxes on there if you use the top rack. Anyway, that's what I do. Bueller, whenever, if you want to send me something, maybe you and Bob one day when you're recording, just send a couple of different ones or whatever. That would be cool. Or just the same one. And I'd love to play it during the breaks, like a little commercial for you. Just remind everybody that's coming in the morning. The who watches me that doesn't watch Bueller? Should we stagger the comics front to back to prevent spine roll? I've never heard that. I don't have a problem with spine roll. I just have full short boxes. Not too full. You don't want them too tight. But you don't want them too loose where they're flopping around. But a lot of the comics I bought in the last year are just stacked. Some bagged and boarded and some not. They're stacked in front of the books. And then I have a bunch of figures in front of them. So this upcoming weekend, I'm spending a lot of time moving some stuff out of this room and into other areas of the apartment, free up some more space in here, and then, like I said, we got a whole new set that's being built. Not being built, but being designed. So, like, we're not building it. I live in an apartment. I can't build. $10 mystery box. Bueller, no worries. It's fine. I don't want to do it anyway. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. Anyway, next segment, we're going to be talking about DC, and we'll even be doing a Marvel in the 90s. We'll be right back. This song is from The Basement Show. Me and my homie Skeptic, contacting Skeptic. The Basement Show. The song's called Through the Cracks.
Life, yo, we try and maintain everyday struggle, and I learn from the pain. Bitches wanna criticize you, say I want fame, but really what I'm trying to do is change the game. Like Charlemagne, he was the people's king. You need to understand that I'm not trying to scheme. For real, this is my dream. I'm a microphone fiend, pumping on the indica religiously. Now change the beat, chop it up, and let's go for a ride. Open your eyes wide, look at the time. We struggle to survive in this world, you confuse and wine. In due time, though the nameless and faceless, the ones who lost along the way will run these races. Who dare to dream dreams and their ambitions are wasted, carried by the will and dust for others to taste. You may have fallen through the cracks, but it wasn't your face. This is for my mates who fell through the cracks, lost tribes still alive, and we never looking back. You think you got the nuts, but you can't take our stack, cause we holding the ace, king, queen, and the jack. Yo, this is for my beats coming up through the cracks, tough climb, but we find a way to attack. We're going and we roll, we can never be whacked. We the basement show, picking up the slack. Don't need a degree in biology, psychology, or astronomy to ponder see, so follow me, because it's hard to see, half-heartedly. Possibly, you're not fond of me, and if you think I give a shit, you think retardedly. You deposit G's and I respond to please to spit this contactology. Just no use in arguing, go wandering, who's wandering? If we get lost despondently, far beyond our boundaries. Losing faith in democracy, so obviously something's wrong with me. We give you shit that you long to see, so they mock us, see, with hypocrisy. This is for my beats who fell through the cracks, lost tribes still alive, and we never looking back. You think you got the nuts, but you can't take our stack, cause we holding the ace, king, queen, and the jack. Yo, this is for my beats coming up through the cracks, tough climb, but we find a way to attack. We're going and we roll, we can never be whacked. We the basement show, picking up the slack. We understand the pain, what it takes to follow after fantasies. driven by insanity, or so it might seem to the masses living life behind a cloudy screen. Even though only a handful ever rise to the top, those who chose to use the talents should not be forgot. The foundation that we standing on has gobbled them up, but without the contributions be a Brownian mug. Ha! And less jewels on a diamond studded.
So finally, you got time for me, since you heard my tie rhyme over wine with sweet. Well, you'll find mesquite at the highest peak, cause I'm tired of this bullshit hide and seek. Stop pressing me about your useless keys. You're stressful, please don't impress me. I'm question free, so stop testing me, cause all you questioning, you stay blessing me. This is for my peeps who fell through the cracks, lost tribes still alive, and we never looking back.
You think you got the nuts, but you can't take our stack, cause we holding the ace, king, queen, and the jack.
Yo, this is for my peeps coming up through the cracks, tough climb, but we find a way to attack.
We're going and we roll, we can never be whacked. We the basement show, picking up the slack.
Hey everybody, welcome back here to Pop Culture Philosophers. Right as I was going into the break, we got a super chat from Fable for the new set, homie. Thank you, my man. Appreciate it. Oh. Yeah. The retro's on the move. Oh. The retro's on the move. Yeah. Yo, I need to make it clear, I put orange in my beer, and that's the way we do, so you have no fear. Walking to tomorrow, waiting for today, that's just the way that we paved this way. Let me tell you when I'm smoking, let me tell you when I'm joking, and I'm token that you know that I'm never fucking broken. This be the way that we do it at night. Rockin Robbie live, ain't that shit tight? Ah. He's the crazy joker, man. His name is what? His name is Hellboy. Welcome back here to Rockin Robbie Live on Pop Culture Philosophers. It's time for Block B. In this segment, we'll be talking about the drama over at DC Comics. We'll be doing Marvel in the 90s. And, of course, answering and just having a great conversation about comic books, movies, pop culture, and a whole lot more. You can join the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group if you're on Facebook. You might as well follow Pop Culture Philosophers and join the PCP Army. We're about to be putting up the very first Horror Fest PCP Army movie poll, so you want your voice heard, so join up there. You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter at @TheRockinRobbie, and you can support the channel in a myriad of ways. You're already doing it by watching. But you can also like, share, subscribe. You can do a super chat, or you can join these fine people: David, Alex, Brian, Nelson, Reggie, Brian, Dee Bullseye, Dunlaney, HC, Jason, James, Javi, Jose, Josh, Lewis, Monmeet, Michael, Mikey, Nicholas, Robert, Sebastian, Timo, TJ, and William. Over at patreon.com/PCP, where you can unlock exclusive content like early access and an audio file to the weekly comic book review. Usually about 2.5 to 3 hours before the video drops on YouTube, you'll be able to download an audio-only version of the weekly comic book review and get the first know of the pick of the week and my thoughts on the books for as little as $1 a month. Anyway, how are y'all doing? Cheers. Thank you for the super chats. We really do appreciate it. I'm glad that that song was able to help you pee a little bit, Sean. It helped me as well. His name is Hellboy. That's just always stuck in my head. Always stuck in my head. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Let's talk about it. DC Comics. What's going on with DC Comics? Lots of stuff. Lots of misinformation. Lots of overreacting. Lots of weird stretches going on about it. But let's talk about it. Time Warner, AT&T Time Warner, took some big hits in the COVID-19 shutdown. They're not making billions of dollars off movies right now. They're losing, they're not making a lot of money. They're doing line-wide cuts. This is affecting more than just DC Comics. So this isn't them being like, we don't care about DC Comics and just like cutting that. Like, this is line-wide type stuff. It may seem disproportionate, but I think that's mostly because of coverage. Because we're so passionate, we care about them. The line's getting cut about 20 to 25%. They've got rid of DC Collectibles. They're no longer going to do in-house merchandising. They are either getting rid of Disney Universe, the app, or Disney Universe, the app, or what they're doing is going comics only. I've heard they're doing just the comics and community stuff there. And then, so there's that. And they're going to put a lot of focus on digital, but they're still going to be publishing comics. And of course, they fired a lot of people. A lot of people across the board. I mean, these things are happening at HBO as well and things like that. And they're moving all the DC Universe shows are going to HBO Max. HBO Max wasn't quite the launch they expected or wanted. And then they haven't been raking in revenue from movies. Now, they want to keep DC Comics alive, if for anything, even if it may seem sad to say it, but sometimes I think Marvel and DC are safe because they're just melting and stewing pots for story ideas for IP, right? And that's what they care about. They want to keep Superman, Batman, all that stuff. They're not going to do anything with that. But they're going to cut the line, trim some of the fat down, probably cut some books off that we really like. We already have a wave of announcements of cancelizations, but I don't think that those are connected to this. So we're probably going to get to see even more. They fired a bunch of people. Bob Harris, Bobby Chase, Brian Cunningham. These are veterans. They've been there for a while. I think that Bob Harris is needed to be replaced as editor-in-chief for a while now. The new editors-in-chief, that's right, there's two of them, is Marie Javins, who has a very good working relationship with Scott Snyder, so that's beneficial for him and for those of us who are fans of his. And Michelle Wells. Michelle Wells is more on the young adult kids graphic novel oriented type thing. DC really focuses in on graphic novels, and if you look at it, even when comic book sales are on a slow rise, graphic novel sales just continue to go up. So people say it's the death of the industry. It's not. It's not. It may be some changes. Less monthly published comics, more digital content, but more graphic novels, more collected material of newer things in particular. Less collected material of old school stuff, though. That's really shitty. But DC's never really had the best track record with that, but they have been doing a great job with all the Silver Age and Golden Age omnibuses and stuff. And actually, they used to do great jobs with like the... what were they called? Archive editions and shit like that. So, yeah. But they're going to be doing less collected editions of older stuff and more of newer stuff and more probably original graphic novel content. But they're still publishing their line. This is not a result of a Wonder Woman variant cover. That's been a common thing that I've seen spread around. Is like, so, I know there's a Wonder Woman 1984 one-shot comic book, and they commissioned this dude to do a variant cover. And Wonder Woman's got like, she's got some weight on her, but it's a style, right? Like if you look at this artist, like this is his style. This is how he draws his figures. And yeah, he's drawing it maybe a little bit more like an, I don't know, like just a woman that's not with the typical Wonder Woman body shape or whatever, but like that's not the inside art of the book. It's a variant cover. It's just, they hired this dude to do an image in Wonder Woman style. I mean, in his style of Wonder Woman. So I didn't see any kind of crazy. People were blaming that on this. They're what? First of all, they're not changing the body shape or size of Wonder Woman. You know what I'm saying? It's just a variant cover. It's a variant cover in this dude's style. It's so weird. It's so weird. It's like if Frank Quitely did like a variant of something and everybody was like, oh, DC's like all of a sudden gonna make Batman wrinkly and old and pruny. No, that's his style. What? Anyway, it has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with canceling woke books, and I don't think it's going to lead into super like preachy like I don't know. That's all crazy. That's all crazy to me. See, there you go. CBR article from 2 days ago with Tom Taylor saying Suicide Squad was not canceled. It was a planned ending with more to come. I get that. I can feel that, a lot of these books are written that way now. These cancelizations, and we already knew Hawkman was on the chopping block. Kelly Sue DeConnick's already pretty much confirmed it's not the end of Aquaman. It's just the end of this phase. Relaunching a book is no surprise. Maybe it is fake outrage just because it gets views up or something. I don't know. But, it's just crazy. And people are like, this is the death of DC Comics. Every few months, there's something that's the death of comics, right? It's the death of the industry. 20 to 25% cut of the line is nothing like in the late 70s when DC had to cut 40% of their line. They almost sold to Marvel. They were so broke at a certain point by the 80s and just weren't pulling in anything. And, yeah, this is a snowball effect from way up. Coming down, right? And it sucks that so many great people lost their jobs. I was really surprised that Mark Doyle got canned. Mark Doyle is like the executive editor and the guy in charge of DC Black Label. Now, it's not saying that it's the end of DC Black Label. I don't think that's happening at all. But he's doing a great job. He's doing a great job. Like, DC Black Label had some missteps in the beginning, but DC Black Label has become pretty damn solid. A solid-ass imprint. And his absence is, I don't know. I hope we don't feel it too much, but I'm sure we will feel it a little bit. Anyway, so I just wanted to clarify that. Jim Lee is still publisher. I mean, not publisher. He's CCO, Chief Creative Officer still. He's no longer publisher. They're bringing in a general manager to kind of be like his guy. Jim Lee said in an interview that it was always intended that he would be partnered up with someone who would be more about the executive business end of things, and he would be more on the creative side of things. And so he will be working in conjunction with this new guy that they're bringing in, who's going to be more of a general manager type, right? So anyway. But I think Javins is going to be focusing on the publishing line, like on single issues and some of the digital stuff. She was already ahead of a lot of the digital strategy there. And Michelle Wells has been really focused in on, the DC graphic novels that they do for like kids and young adults. Like, even if you don't read them, and like most of us here in the, superhero community, like I read some of them, but I don't read all of them, but, man, they sell really well. And the graphic novel market keeps growing. So there's nothing in danger of the industry, but we will be losing some DC titles here and there. And a lot of people lost their jobs. Chief Creative Officer is a real thing. Marvel has them. What he basically does in this role is he's the guy that communicates DC Comics to the other divisions, like to the film, to the video games, to the toys, to the he's the communication point kind of thing. But I think DC will be fine. They've gone through worse. They'll go through it again. Remember, Marvel filed bankruptcy in the 90s. They made it through that. Yeah, it's sad that so many great people, like Bobby Chase, she was a really good editor, and Brian Cunningham, yeah, he's been there for a long time. Mark Doyle, but yeah, it sucks. It really does. And it would be awkward to get laid off, but you're still there for 90 days. Mm. There's a new Rick Remender one coming out soon. I can't remember what it's called right now, but it seems wild. Do you think Marvel or DC could ever pull a new wave of characters that stick like Marvel did in the 60s and 70s, or that like DC did in the 50s and 60s when they brought in a whole new Flash, a whole new Green Lantern, and to us today, that's Green Lantern and Flash. I don't know, the knee-jerk reaction that a lot of the community can have towards new characters and legacy heroes seems to kind of prevent some of it, but some of them sneak through, and that's what should happen, is the ones that really have the staying power really connect to the original core concept and principles of the mythology. And that's why I think Hal Jordan and Barry Allen have lasted. That's why Wally West has lasted. It's because they connect to that core, those core principles very, very well. Some come and go. You get new characters every so often that really hit you. Iron Fist and Power Man came out of the 70s. Blade came out of the 70s. Deadpool and Harley Quinn came out of the 90s. Venom came out of the 80s and the 90s. So you have characters that could. I think some will streak through, trickle through. At Marvel, for instance, you got Miles Morales, you got Spider-Gwen, but the Miles character I think has got a bright future. But it seems like a lot of time there's a big knee-jerk reaction to trying new characters and new things and new concepts. So there's not going to be as much opportunity. Well, Jeff Johns is doing his own thing with his stuff right now. He still writes for DC, but he got ousted as the CCO a long time ago. So he hasn't been at DC Comics in that kind of a role for a while. Though we're supposed to be getting his own imprint of comics, Killing Zone, that's probably never going to happen now. But not this week, but next week, Three Jokers finally releases. Clarence says, "The sky is falling. I love Bobby. I remember her when she edited Hulk. She hired Todd, didn't she? I maybe. I don't know that 100%, but I wouldn't surprise me. The thing with Hill House is limited series that have all wrapped up. I think there will definitely be more horror comics, DC or not. Oh, 100%. There's a renaissance of horror comics right now. Great ones. By law, they have to give a 60 to 90 day notice in most states. That's cool. And they'll land somewhere, you know? There are plenty of companies right now, but a lot of companies are really dealing with financial difficulties right now. I stopped reading the new Ghost Rider book. It was interesting enough, but it never really quite captured me 100%. But it is getting canceled. It's wrapping up soon. Miss Marvel, that's a good one. I think Kamala's a really great character. Is Lock and Key worth watching? I only watched the first episode, and I was really taken aback by it. I was super hyped for that show, so I never finished it. But I love the book. But I hear that it gets better. So I'll get caught up on it eventually. I'm behind on a lot of stuff. Will Marvel pick up any of these DC cast-offs or end up... Well, okay, so a lot of them did work at Marvel. I think Bob Harris will be done at the big two at this point. He was already editor-in-chief at Marvel. He's been editor-in-chief at DC for a while now, so he may get snatched up eventually by somebody. I don't know. IDW's looking for some new people, right? But I definitely would see them landing somewhere else in the industry, 100%. This is their wheelhouse. They're lifers. Umbrella Academy was awesome. I loved it. Loved it. Robbie, do you think DC is going to reboot again? Yeah, honestly. Okay, so this is what's going to happen, though, is death metal, I mean, that's a real story that's really happening in continuity. So there has to be some kind of a reboot that happens afterwards. But the reboot's going to have minimal effect on things that are continuing to go. Because anything that works. And what they're trying to do with death metal is it's an anti-crisis. So it's not like they're trying to wipe things out and have a clean slate to start fresh from again, like they did with, say, Crisis on Infinite Earths, or like they did with Flashpoint. But it's more of an anti-crisis, meaning they're bringing it all back together. So at the end of it, It's almost as going to be like even more stuff has happened and some things that got lost in the shuffle of the New 52 and into Rebirth, that will be reestablished as continuity. Kate's a great new character. Kate's great. Kate Bishop's amazing. And you can thank Matt Fraction and Kelly Thompson in particular for my love of Kate Bishop. Miss Marvel is going to be hot. I sold my Miss Marvel #1 when it was like $20. I was like, wow, $20? Wow, I'm going to flip this one. Now she's getting her own damn TV series. Shit, I should have saw that coming. I hope Hellstrom's good on Hulu. I'm excited to check it out. It could be good. Who knows? Who knows? I think it'll be fine. Hopefully. Could suck. If it does suck, then, no skin off Marvel's sack. Like not too many people know Damian. He was one of the least popular picks on my Avengers Battle Draft on Everything Comics. What's up, Jim Minton? How are you doing? You're now Jim Minton with Jim Mint Collectibles, everybody. What's up, Stefan? Eric says, Sean, there was a Comic-Con YouTube channel about the Hellstrom stream. I'm excited to check it out, though. What's up, Colonel Angus? It was Colonel Angus in the library with the wrench. Jim, what do you think about the DC stuff? Do you think they'll be fine? I think they'll be fine. It sucks that people are getting canned and fired, but it's not the end of DC Comics. They're going to be cutting some of the fat off, and basically, to wrap up my thoughts on it, it's not a response to like a Wonder Woman variant cover. It's not Time Warner just being like, we don't care about DC Comics, cut them. It's across the board at Time Warner right now, and some good people have lost their jobs. I'm really concerned about the Mark Doyle leaving. I think Mark Doyle leaving DC Black Label could be detrimental. So we'll see what leadership can take over that line. It's because I recently met a Stefan, and before we streamed, I was like, it's Stefan, right? And he was like, no, it's Stefan. I was like, oh man, every time I see it, I think Stefan or Kel. But in the study with the candlestick, damn it, I was wrong, Colonel Angus. Jim says, I think the reset will bring stronger titles. And usually they do. And that's what Metal's setting up. Metal's setting up an end to everything again, but it will be a relaunch. But for the most part, things will be okay. Remember, at the end of Final Crisis, they had to relaunch Reality as well. But we didn't really get too much. It wasn't as big of a deal as, say, Flashpoint in the New 52. That's not happening. What they're doing is what they started with Rebirth, they're finishing. They're tying it all back together. They're bringing it all in. It's the pH that messes people up, isn't it? People see the pH and they're like, what? Stefan. I find their focus on digital to be foolish. They're just giving away free content. Digital sales are on the... If you look at the numbers, they're all on the uptick, okay? But the biggest growth is graphic novels. Then there's comics, and comics kind of have these peaks and valleys. But for the most part, over the last 10, 20 years, they are on an upward tick. But not as big as graphic novels and trade paperbacks and collected material like omnibuses and library editions and things like that. If Aquaman had to wear arm floaties, I think that'd be cool. Can I get some adult size Aquaman arm floaties so I'll go to my pool and I'll just like sit there with them? Just chilling. Anyway, what was I saying? Marvel could use some fat trimming. Yeah, they really could. Like, seriously, because they start getting bloated and there's too much content out sometimes. Best image titles, in my opinion: Gideon Falls, Ice Cream Man, Decorum. I'll go with those three. Any change to the way Nightwing has been would make a better book. Well, they're using the Joker War to get Nightwing back on track. I read the newest issue that comes out this week, and it was pretty solid. It was okay. Yeah, they do. And that's something Jim Lee was saying in his, I think it was an interview with Hollywood Reporter. And he said that, he's like, we have to look and make sure that every book we put out has a reason. We're not just putting it out to keep a property alive or something like that. It's got to have a reason. So, that's how it goes. Joff. I mispronounce people's names all the time. Sometimes people call me Boppin' Bobby Phillips. Creators get content. You have guys like Donny Cates, Scott Snyder, Jonathan Hickman doing exciting stuff. We need more of that, like Jeff Johns, 3 Jokers. Yes, absolutely. And that's, we touched on this a little bit last week about the journey of the comic book collector. Usually someone will start off and they'll just be like, oh, I like Batman, I like Spider-Man, I like the Avengers, I like the X-Men. And they'll read those books. And then eventually they'll get tired of them. And I feel one of my jobs as a comic book retailer is to get people to realize that it's not the characters necessarily that you're liking, but it's the creators behind it. And when people start following creators more so than characters, and following characters is 100% cool. I follow the Fantastic Four, ride or die, FF, forever, and Aquaman, same thing. And there are people that are like that with X-Men, Spider-Man. I know people like that, and it's dope. That's fine. But like when you start following the creators, that's when you're like, oh man, now I get it. And they need to make sure that every book fits an overall direction that works. Each book has its own direction that works, and that each creator is not just doing mindless work for hire, but is excited about the project. That's one of the reasons why the Jonathan Hickman X-Men books, the Scott Snyder stuff on Death Metal, Donny Cates' stuff on Thor, and Venom right now, the reason why those are captivating the entire community so much is because the fun and the passion is oozing off of those pages. You get what I'm saying? You know how much fun that they're having. So much fun. Mikey with the super chat, really appreciate it, buddy. He says, Rebirth was a great time to jump on again with DC, and after Metal, it may be the end of that and a jump off for many people. I don't think so, because they're still going to be making Batman comics, right? But thank you for the super chat. What do y'all think? The retro's on the move. The retro's on the move. Yo. Hey, yo, you may say flex, but I say weird stretch. And that's the way I go when I'm in my Lex. Lex? What the hell does that even mean? It's a Lexus, fool. You know that I bring all the bling to the scene when I'm walking down the street. Rolling in my Lex like you know what I mean. I'm just kidding, I got a Cavalier. What's up, y'all? Fanboy Russ says, I'm like that with Batman and JLA. Hell yeah, brother. Marvel and DC hate that. They want it to be about the characters. Yes, and that's why they lose great creators. Remember Marvel went through a really dark period not too long ago because they lost all of their top creators. Seriously. Matt Fraction, Ed Brubaker, Jonathan Hickman. He's back now, but Jonathan Hickman, they all jumped ship. They all just left and started doing their own stuff because first of all, there's more passion there. We've talked about this before. Jonathan Hickman's best work is not any of his superhero work. His best work is stuff that he owns. That's the stuff that he holds close to his heart. You know what I'm saying? Jack Kirby held back ideas from Thor because he didn't feel appreciated, and he didn't feel like Stan gave him the respect that he deserved on his ideas for Thor. So he saved all those, and then he goes to DC and he creates the New Gods. Marvel could have had some of that stuff. Marvel could have had a dark side. I mean, they eventually got a Thanos, But Thanos was created because of Darkseid. Jim Starlin will tell you that, right? But anyway. Yeah, man. That's their, like, Jonathan East of West is better than Jonathan Hickman's Fantastic Four or X-Men, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Ed Brubaker's work that he does on books like Fatale or Kill or Be Killed or The Fade Out or Criminal, it's way better than his Captain America run. Though his Captain America run's one of the best Captain America runs out there. Yeah. And the pay's not very good. And they don't have benefits. Like, now I'm not just talking about health and dental. Though that'd be cool if they had that. But it's hard to do that when you're freelance work for hire. But, like, you know, if you would do what you can to keep, you know, like DC pays Grant Morrison pretty well. And they work out good deals with some of their creators, you know, where they get a cut of the profits. But creatorship's what people want now. You remember what's it like being Marv Wolfman, Gene Colan, and Blade becomes a big movie, and you don't see nothing from that. Nothing. But that's the nature of work for hire, freelance work. And creators are they know about that now, and they're smart about it. And so, yeah, Ed Brubaker's like, yeah, I got some good ideas for Captain America, but my best ideas, I'm saving for myself. Led Zepp said, damn, Robbie, that's dope. Thanks for lying. One of my favorite episodes of Buffy is called Lie to Me. You and Jim Men are the best comic influencers on YouTube, no doubt. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I think Jim is definitely one of the best, 100%. The numbers speak. GSA needs to come back, as does Titans, with no lame characters. The new Superman writer in DC will be rocking again. I'm right there with you. Batman's looking good right now. Wonder Woman's actually looking pretty good in the start of a new run. The last 2 issues, really solid so far. Suicide Squad is good, and hopefully there's more of a future for that. Tom Taylor. DC just needs to get him on something big. You're so humble, Jim Mint. Stefan. Yeah, I'm right there. I got to have my Marvel and DC fix too. I love it. But we're about to see that happen with Scott Snyder. He's going to be focused more on independent stuff. 100%. JSA does need to come back, though. 100%. I'm right there with you. Titans, I've never been the biggest Titans guy, but sure. Absolutely. There's the big fan base for it. And a new writer on Superman, I can 100% get behind that idea. I think Bendis needs to... I think Bendis' place at DC could... I think he did a really good job. I'll be honest with you. I think what Bendis needs to do is step away from mainstream superhero books for a while and focus on creator-owned stuff yet. Bendis is the opposite of what we were just talking about. Bendis started out as an independent creator-owned guy, pumping out amazing content. Jinx, Goldfish, Powers, Torso. Come on. And then goes to Marvel, right? And then has a pretty decent run there. Now he's over at DC, kind of mediocre, but he's got some good stuff at DC. His best work at DC has been, to me, Cover. Guess what Cover is? Creator-owned. Like, I think he needs to focus on that again. I know he wanted to write Superman, and he's got a plan, and he's got a planned ending. So it's not too long from now where that wraps up. So, but I'd like to see a Green Arrow launch from him. I'd like to even see him maybe on a Batman title, you know, like Detective Comics. Have Tynion doing Batman. And I think Detective Comics could use some new blood injected into it. Maybe Bendis could do well on that. Because Bendis' Batman Universe book was really good to me. And if him and Alex Maleev did a Detective Comics instead of shit like Event Leviathan or whatnot, bro, I'd be way more down for that. And I think that would work so much better for him. Hey, what's up, Jason? When's the next night with the Shades? I was thinking about that earlier. I was thinking, should I do a Teen Dog Shades night tonight? And then I was like, no, because I'm doing a Marvel in the 90s. And the last time I did a Marvel in the 90s on a Teen Dog Shades night, I kind of fucked it up. But then I actually released it. on its own on Friday night, and when I watched it again, I was like, I didn't do as bad as I thought I did. But whatever. Clarence says, I grew up in the hood. I've seen automatic weapons. A white dude with a bow won't get that shit done, son. You're right, but that's why it's a comic book. If Batman was real, that dude would have got a long time ago. Seriously. You know it. Much less when Darkseid shows up. Like, for instance, if Darkseid was a real thing and cared about Earth, like, if there was this real, like representation of, like, just anti-life, like Darkseid, a personification of it, and set his sights towards Earth, we're fucked, man. Like, ain't no Superman gonna get us out of that shit, man. And definitely not Green Arrow. Oh, man. And Punisher would have been blown away a long time ago, right? Okay, so when's the next Teen Dog Shades night? Well, I'll just say the next solo Teen Dog Shades night is sooner than you probably think. And the next group one will be soon. We got Horror Fest coming up, so I don't want to over-schedule live streams and wear myself out. With Snyder doing more indie, we need Justin Richards to move in, start in with Nightwing. Herminio, Justin's already left. He already said he left, so you don't have to kiss ass anymore. I need to get back and check out more Pearl. So Bendis still has it in him, but I'm just not digging his direction on Superman. It was good at first, and it lost me. It started losing me. But I do plan on doing another Teen Dog Shades night soon with guests. I want to get Kevin back. Kevin's actually locked himself away for a month to finish up some projects with no distractions. So he's actually in a different city right now. But I want to get Kevin back on one. And Dylan wants to do one. Jim Mint said that he would do one. And Dylan wants to do the one with Jim Mint, of course. And Justin and Liana have agreed to do one. And we got to get them on a comic book creator Teen Dog Shades night. So... Too much of an ego death for Bendis to immediately leave, but that doesn't mean that they can't have another writer there as well. Limited series. Bendis needs indie success before he leaves the Big Blue Sub. Well, he mentioned that he already has the end in mind and that it's coming. It's not this year, probably not next year, but it's within the next few years. But we'll see. They listen. They know that the Superman sales are decent, but they know that the response is not super, super positive. It's just meandering. Yeah, absolutely. Edwin, comic jabroni, definitely will be missed. A positive and enthusiastic and passionate voice here on the YouTube comics community that will be sorely missed. So let's have another tribute. All right, back to business. Been way too much loss. Way too much loss this year. Way too much loss. Heavy Metal Wolfman with a large super chat saying, thanks for always showing love to the horror genre. Thank you, my man. It is a passion of mine. As much as I love comics, I also love horror movies. And me and the Excitable PCP crew, we're very excited to introduce Jay Strick to some movies that he probably wasn't allowed to watch when he was a kid. It's probably going to blow his mind. I'm excited. I was talking to Dylan earlier about doing like live streams on his channel where we just have horror discussions each week. We love horror movies here, and we always do Horror Fest, and we've covered Horror Fest here on PCP, but we have never done it like we're doing it this year, and I'm very excited. And thank you, Heavy Metal Wolfman. Really do appreciate it. Had to get to the for the $20 super chat. Thank you so much. Yeah, I know. His name was Hellboy. This is how we lose the Joker video, is we're going to have to put Hellboy in it now. His name is Hellboy. Oh, damn. I still got to cut that Hellboy. I want to write me a big note. Cut Hellboy song out so we can always go back to it. It's like gets stuck in my head. I know all the lyrics. It's like it's actually pretty coherent. I'm surprised. His name is Hellboy. Bendis started with Daredevil and Avengers, both top of the line. Yes. His Daredevil work is amazing. His Ultimate Spider-Man work is amazing. But a lot of people just don't like him, period. And that's fine. To each their own, you know? To each their own. Anybody ever read Jinx and Torso and Goldfish, some of those early Bendis books? Oh, they're so freaking good. And he did the art on them, too. They're all on the bottom shelf. I can't reach down there yet. They're so good. I should probably do a series of videos about them in defense of Bendis the early years. Now, I used to send him letters and shit and like email him and, like in his early days when he was still just an independent creator. So good. It's like when Urkel becomes Stefan, how coolness washes over me during the Joker clap. I just want a little more continuity at the big two. It was never a problem back in the day. Those little editor's notes pointing me to other issues got me into other titles. Me too. And what happened was when Joe Quesada took over as editor-in-chief at Marvel, he kind of put an end to a lot of that stuff because at that point they're starting to write for the trade. The graphic novel market's exploding. They're wanting books that can sit on shelves and that somebody can just go grab and read and enjoy and not feel like they're overwhelmed by large numbers. That's why they reboot. It is kind of at times a barrier to new people, but it wasn't to me when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I would read that stuff and I'd be like, ooh, I want to read that issue that they referenced in this one random issue. Like, I loved that shit. I think the biggest difference, though, is it's not kids that are into this stuff anymore. It's adults. And I think adults are a little bit more anxious about it and like, oh, I feel lost. I feel like I got to start from the beginning and things like that. That's definitely an idea that started with me in my adult life as opposed to being a kid. When I was a kid, I didn't feel like I needed to start a TV show at episode 1. I mean, that was an impossibility at times. You just started watching something. If you liked it, you kept watching it. Sometimes you lost it. When I started watching Buffy, I didn't know half the shit they were talking about Angel. You know, I started watching Buffy in season 3. So I was really confused. And then it wasn't until way later when they started re-airing it on FX and I was copying them on my VHS tapes that I actually got to watch season 1 and 2 and understand what they were mentioning and referencing and actually see the stories. And so, but yeah, you know. I really like his new Avengers run. I really do. It's much better read as a whole, too. Exactly, Robbie. I sure didn't start reading X-Men at issue number 1. Yeah. Speaking truth. Just jump in and keep going. That's what I tell people. People will be like, where do I start with something? I was like, well, you can just jump in and just keep going. But people don't like that answer. They want to know like a specific place. So that's why they give them so many opportunities with new number 1s and new numbering on trade paperbacks and stuff like that. You remember VHS? Me too, man. It's good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, y'all, we're about to have some super fun here because we're about to do a brand new segment of Marvel in the 90s. And today we're talking about Punisher, The Final Days, the story that led to the infamous story of when the Punisher shortly for 3 issues became a black dude. Seriously. So there's all the covers of the story. Final Days is a 7-part story. It's written by Mike Barron. It's got artwork by Hugh Hayes, I believe. Hugh Hayes or Hugh Haynes. I just read it. You think I would know? I should probably grab a book that's right in front of me so I can tell you for sure. Dead air. Dead air. Yes, Mike Barron, Hugh Haynes, Jimmy Palamati on the inking. So it's a 7-part story, and like I said, it ends with Punisher becoming a black man. How does this come about? Well, I recently reread it. Let's talk about it. So the Punisher's just doing his normal thing, blowing people away. And one of my favorite things about Punisher books in the early 90s is how excessively violent they are. Like, I know that they get deep and dark and violent today, but it's just ridiculous back in the 90s. I love it so much. So in the story, Kingpin has a rival gangster, a rival kingpin, basically, who's like causing commotions and problems. And he decides to hire this kid, this dude down there, that's George. So George works for Kingpin. Kingpin put him through school. He's an accountant, but he's bringing him up, and he wants him to devise a plan to take care of his business rival and the Punisher all at once. So they develop this plan that they're going to kidnap Microchip, which they do. They kidnap Microchip, and they cut off his thumb. They send his thumb to Frank Castle, and basically Kingpin convinces Frank Castle to kill this criminal rival to the Kingpin, and that will protect Microchip. So Frank reluctantly agrees to it. He goes to a safe house not even Microchip knows about and grabs this badass, like, we thought the Punisher van was dope. Look at that thing. He references it as being an $8 million vehicle. And see the dog? That dog is Max. That's the Punisher's dog. It becomes important later. Trust me. So the Punisher goes after the dude and, yeah, he takes care of him. He kills him. Meanwhile, fooled you. It was also the Kingpin set him up to be completely surrounded by police. So he kills the Kingpin's rival, and the Kingpin sets him up, and the Punisher turns himself in because he doesn't want to kill another cop. And he says, Merry Christmas, and he winds up going to jail. So in jail, of course, Frank Castle has everybody kind of scared of him or coming after him. Meanwhile, Microchip does get released. Kingpin's a man of his word, but he dumps him off in Thailand. Now, a lot of time passes in this story, and over time what happens is Microchip loses weight and even gets a little bit of help disguising himself and creates a new identity so he can leave Bangkok and go to America again. Meanwhile, Punisher's in jail, and everybody's coming at him, or they're scared of him. Jigsaw wants revenge. See, Jigsaw's face is completely effed up because of the Punisher. So he returns the favor and scars the hell out of the Punisher. Well, it works out to his benefit because while his face is all bandaged up, he actually can escape. He escapes from prison. It was supposed to be an escape plan for somebody else. He pretends to be somebody else, and he gets out of prison. And meanwhile, this dude George, this little shit, he breaks into this safe house because he's able to use computers and all kinds of things and figure out a way to figure out where Punisher is staying. So he gets attacked by Max. Good old boy. You see that? And then you see this? That's right. He shoots the dog. Cuts the dog and shoots him. So Frank shows back up, see his messed up, gnarly face, and he has to put the dog to sleep because the dog is dying. Well, what's one thing that you don't do? Punisher's already scary enough, but you don't kill his dog. Wasn't that like a John Wick type thing? I don't know. I've never seen those movies. Anyway, now the Punisher's like, oh, fuck no. We're going after this dude. So Punisher just gets even crazier at this point, blowing people away, taking out people. He meets back up with Microchip in his new identity, and he's like, I need a plastic surgeon to help me with this face, and he's going to use this as an opportunity to disguise himself, get plastic surgery, but of course he can't get anybody actually, right? He's got a funhouse secret hideout that gets found out, and he just blasts them all away. This is Punisher super, super mad. So Microchip winds up finding this woman who has been disgraced as a surgeon, and now she is addicted to drugs. They refer to her many times in this book as a junkie hooker. It's the 90s, right? So he gets this ex-Dr. Junkie to give him plastic surgery in this random place, right? And she was working with melanin and all kinds of stuff. So when he wakes up, he's a black man. What the hell? So he's a black man. Did you get what I'm saying? Okay, that's weird. So then in the next couple issues, Punisher finds his way. He's now calling himself Frank Rook. That's clever. And he winds up meeting Luke Cage. Luke Cage, fresh off of the yellow shirts into the Mike Tyson swag in the early 90s. This was actually a setup for his Cage solo series, which I loved when I was a kid. So Frank Castle and Luke Cage team up and they start cleaning up the streets of Chicago. Lots of cool stuff happens there, but he can't have, so it's his skin starts fading back to white. Notice the last part of the story is called Fade to White. So George actually finds out that Punisher has done plastic surgery, looks different. He kidnaps the lady who did the surgery and figures that this is going to be how he gets Frank Castle. Meanwhile, Frank Castle just straight up shoots the dude in the head. That's what happens when you shoot the Punisher's dog. Max was a good dog, and he didn't deserve that. Anyway, he kills him. His skin fades back to white. Luke Cage is like, man, you're the Punisher. And he's like, yeah, I am. But don't worry, I'm back. So that's pretty much the story of Final Days and the brief time when Punisher became a black man. Or had his skin dyed black or whatever. It's a really weird book, right? And it's one of those things that people are like, comic books best left forgotten, right? It's, I think it's fine. It's near Mike Barron's end. Here's my actual issues right here. So it starts in Punisher 53. Love the Toy Biz Series 1 X-Men ad there. There's Punisher 54. And on this one, I love the Wolverine NES ad right there. I actually like this game. There's issue number 55. There's 56, which may be my favorite cover. That's a Joe Quesada cover. Love that cover. Then there's this one, which is a really cool cover because it's got this like wanted poster, right? It's a gatefold. But then it's got the actual poster too, which is an actual image of a dude as Punisher bandaged up. So that's cool, right? Then we have issue number 58 right there. Right here is issue 59. This is the issue where at the end he wakes up and he's a black man. Then it goes into issue 60. Right there. Issue 61. And then he finally comes back. This is the finale there with issue 62. So overall, I think the story's pretty cool. I like those early 90s Punisher stories because they're so excessively violent. They're so over the top. Mike Barron's run gets a bit preachy sometimes, and this one it actually doesn't get that preachy, but I do like some of the ideas. So they're trying to use the idea that a white man, so basically Frank Castle pulls a soul man, right? And as a black man in Chicago, he gets pulled over by cops, and he starts getting harassed and beaten by the cops. That's when Luke Cage shows up and kind of saves him, intervenes, gets him out of there, and they wind up teaming up, and they have this beef because Punisher kills people, Luke Cage doesn't. And Luke Cage is, there's some really cool stuff going on here that's setting up the Cage series because he's still on this whole thing that I'm a hero for hire, and he doesn't want to accept the idea that no, bro, you're just a hero. You know what I'm saying? But it's a fun, interesting oddity in Marvel's history. He was only a black man for 2.5 issues. His skin starts fading back to white, and that's a real weird sequence to see in that last issue because his skin just keeps fading more and more to a white dude. At a certain point, why is Luke Cage not being like, yo, what's up with your complexion, man? It's crazy. But overall, the story's interesting. There are a lot of moving parts. It's really fast read. It's got lots of really nice, violent, double-page spreads that are really cool. The artwork's pretty solid throughout it. It's definitely what you expect from the early 90s, but it's excessively violent. It's like Funeral Pyre level, like Venom Funeral Pyre, and I love it so freaking much. Frank becoming a black man and changing his name to Frank Rook and then interacting with Luke Cage. I love it being used as a setup for the Cage series because that Cage series is, to me, an underappreciated Marvel book in the 90s. And maybe one day we'll cover that here on Marvel in the 90s. But I definitely wanted to cover this one because it's an odd one that a lot of people in the community today never read. And a lot of people, when I tell them, like, yo, yeah, like that time, you know, Frank Castle became a black man. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, dude, that really happened. And it happened in Final Days. Final Days itself, it's a pretty solid, decent story. It's solid as far as Punisher stories go, and I really like the character, and I really like this run from the 90s. And it ends with what some may consider a misstep, but they tried to do the best with it, and it was a short-term thing. And what's crazy to me is he wanted plastic surgery. His face was so messed up. They made him look perfectly fine again. And if you notice, and he's a black man, he doesn't really look like Frank Castle at first. He just looks like there's should have been facial, reconstructive surgery and stuff, right? But when his skin fades back, at the end of it, he just looks like the Punisher again. But whatever. I think it's a pretty interesting thing. It's definitely something worth picking up just to have it for the novelty's sake of it, to be like, oh yeah, this is that time when this happened. It's a weird thing. They've done some of the weirdest stuff with Punisher. I mean, they turned him into a black man. They chopped him up one time and made him a Frankenstein monster type character. They've made him a supernatural avenging angel type thing. With Bernie Wrightson artwork. They've done some weird stuff with Punisher, in particular in the 90s. And yeah, don't worry, we'll be covering that Frank Castle Sponisher, I like to call him. But they take some weird chances with the Punisher, because otherwise the book's just him blowing bad guys away. And you know what? I'm okay with that. And for the most part, that's what this story is. And they kill his dog, and he just goes out with a vengeance. And you ain't never seen it. Oh, and by the way, that $8 million battle tank thing totally gets destroyed. And he's like, oh, well, it's just $8 million. Damn, he's like the CIA, taking drug money and shit. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this segment of Marvel in the 90s. When I first started doing Marvel in the 90s, I knew I wanted to do this story. I knew it. 100%. I was like, I gotta do the story where Punisher gets plastic surgery and becomes a black man to hide his identity. Now, he's not intending to become a black man. This is something that this junkie hooker came up with. Like, I don't know, like she was apparently banned from practicing medicine because she was doing weird work with melanin or something like that. I don't know. And he had to keep taking these pills to stay black. And he ran out of the pills and his skin just fades back to white. Really interesting and weird. But it's got some really cool, like, double page spreads. You saw some where he's just blowing people away. And when they kill his dog, he cries, man. And that's the one time I think it's acceptable for Frank Castle to cry. Well, also when his family gets murdered in front of him. That one too. Anyway. Yeah, I definitely have to see John Wick now, because people are confirming that that's pretty much the plot of John Wick. They kill his dog and he goes crazy and vengeance. Hey, Everything Comics is here. What's up, Bob? What's up, my man? How you doing? Just watched your video this morning. You had the same pick of the week as me. Hell yeah, brother. And in case you were wondering, it's 7 Secrets. But we've already talked about our picks of the week. But that was Marvel in the 90s. We'll do another Marvel in the 90s in a few weeks. I'm trying to figure out what exactly I want to cover next. Anybody ever has any suggestions for Marvel in the 90s? In fact, while I got the notebook out, if you have a suggestion for a Marvel in the 90s book to cover, let me know. So far, we've done Spider-Man Torment by Todd McFarlane. We've done the Cap Wolf story, Man and Beast, Man and Wolf by Mark Grunwald. We've done Daredevil Fade to Black, where he gets the new armored costume. We've done Blood Ties, the X-Men Avengers crossover, which was a sequel to Fatal Attractions. We've done the new Fantastic Four from the Walt Simonson, Art Adams brief run there on Fantastic Four. And now we've done Punisher, Final Days, and of course the brief moment where he became Black Man. So we have lots of cool stuff coming up. Trust me. I love Marvel Comics in the 90s, and that's why we do the segment. Yeah, I got to see John Wick. 4-2 Yankees win. The Yankees win. Hell yeah. 3 so far from Boston. Hopefully we can pick up the win tomorrow. And a 4-game sweep. Very excited. Very excited. Thank you, Samuel. Do Clone Wars. It will take you 3 years. What, like the show? Or the comic? What are you talking about? Maximum Carnage. Herminio, that would be a good one to cover, except we already covered it on Comics Revisited. So I would just direct you to that video. Because no Marvel in the 90s segment is going to top that. But the first Carnage book would be pretty cool to do. Like that 3-issue Carnage series. That would be dope. 2099 is already on the list. And the first one I really want to do on that is Doom. But then it's like, or am I covering the entire thing? Do I got to reread every single issue of Doom 2099? I just might. Heroes Reborn Captain America is already on the list. It is. Oh, the Clone Saga. Woo. Some things I would rather dedicate an episode of Comics Revisited to, and I think I might want to do that with Clone Wars. When Thing Mutates. That's 80s, isn't it? That's 80s. Wishing my Cubbies would get on a win streak, although they've been on a losing streak. Don't worry. Gru is something that one day we could do. One day we may do a Marvel in the 80s. One day we may do a DC in the 90s. Plenty of great stuff from DC in the 90s. We may do a Vertigo in the 90s. We may do an Image in the 90s. Just wait till I get completely caught up on Spawn and just do an entire video on all of Spawn. The Gatherer's Saga, Mike says. Okay. Well, I already got some plans to do the 2099 stuff, the Rob Liefeld Captain America stuff. Baseball's not boring. Baseball thinks you're boring, Russell. Weird stretch, I know, but that's what they think. They told me. Baseball told me. Clone Saga. That's too many books to read just for a damn... I'll do something. Weapon X is 80s. 90s Guardians. Not bad. Not a bad idea. Yeah, that Spawn animated series is dope as fuck, man. It's good. You know, one good idea for 2099 would just be to do all the issue number 1s. That'd be a good one. That would be a good one. Definitely doing the Spawnisher at some point. Oh, Bob, I haven't done Guardian Devil yet, but that's one I would definitely want to do a Comics Revisited episode on, because that's really good. But I could probably do it too. I'd get to it quicker. But a Guardian Devil. Guardian Devil's it's still one of my favorite Daredevil stories. But we have done a Daredevil. I don't know if you caught it, but it will be released on its own in the next couple of weeks. I did Fade to Black. 90s X-Men. I have already planned on doing the first 3 issues of X-Men. 1, 2, and 3. I definitely am doing that. Yeah, I wish the Yankees were undefeated, Led Zepp. That ain't going to happen. I love Doom 2099. I have every issue in my collection. And the Warren Ellis bits are the best. He had a Hellstorm run, too, that would be good to cover. There's even an omnibus for that. I should get it if it's easy to get. I don't know if it's one of the out-of-print ones or not. What's going on between the Punisher and Ghost Rider on the cover of Ghost Rider 6? I don't know. A-Next. I thought about doing some of that stuff. I actually have every issue of A-Next and J2. I know. It's weird. I don't have the Spider-Girl stuff. That stuff's actually better, but I have every issue of A-Next and J2. And the Fantastic Five. '90 Stormwatch Midnighter. We actually did Stormwatch on Comics Revisited. It's one of our best, most watched episodes, actually. Punisher, Daredevil, Nomad, Dead Man's Hand. There's also the, what's that, Prestige format one? That's Punisher, Ghost Rider, and Wolverine. Child Within, yeah, J2. Superman, Death, and all that was big in the 90s. Hell yeah, it was. I definitely will. One day we will do the death and return of Superman, the reign of the Superman, and all that stuff on Comics Revisited. Comics Revisited returns in 2021. Hopefully at the very beginning of the year. We plan on filming the first half of it this fall and winter and getting it ready. 90s Alpha Flight would be good. That would be good. All right, y'all, we're about to take a quick break here. But don't worry, when we come back, we'll be doing a top 5. We'll be having show and tell. We'll be wrapping up the show with a final 9, but we'll still be having lots of fun conversations. This song that you're about to hear is from Fable. This is the Transformers one I was talking about last week that I thought was super, super dope, but I was worried about playing it because of a copyright infringement. But then I was like, you know what, who cares? This song's so freaking dope. And it's not necessarily about the money, the ad revenue. It's very small, but especially for these videos. But y'all, this is Fable Mob yet again. This is dope. He called this one Matrix 5. We'll be right back here on Rockin Robbie Live. Hey everybody, welcome back here to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups, and this is Rockin Robbie Live. That's right. Join the PCP Army, the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. You can follow me on Twitter at @TheRockinRobbie. You can follow Pop Culture Philosophers on Facebook, on Instagram, and you can help support the channel at patreon.com/PCP like these fine people right here. I'm trying to Pac-Man, y'all. Anyway, what's up, everybody? I hope you enjoyed Fable's Transformers rendition there, the remix. I really like that. And thank you, Fable, for allowing us to use your music. I have more music from him to show off. Seems like a lot of people like it. Good to see y'all. So, we're going to be having a fun final segment here. Top 5 coming up. Show and tell coming up. Final 9 coming up. But let's keep the conversation going just for a little bit longer. And yeah, I told y'all, look at the insane amount of oranges in there right now. It's ridiculous. If it wasn't for the orange thing, I don't think I'd like Blue Moon. But I do like Blue Moon. It used to be like one of my favorite beers. One time I went to this party, and this dude had a kegerator, and it was Blue Moon. And I was like, do you have oranges? Bruh, dude, this guy had like an entire shelf in his fridge dedicated to oranges. Bruh, I had so much fun at that party, man. So how are y'all doing out there? We're not doing 5 hours tonight. We're not doing 3 hours tonight. No way. Did I say 3? We'll probably do 3. Shock Top's okay. If I'm in a pinch, I can do the Shock Top. But I'd prefer the Blue Moon. But usually I'm drinking Monkey Nut. Something a little bit more heavy. A little bit more power to it. And Butters times 2 is wearing orange lipstick, so it's appropriate. It works. There you go. I love it. And I love eating the oranges. Peel and all. Peel and all. You know, most of the vitamins in an orange are in the peel. Allegedly. Aren't you glad I didn't say banana? Huh. I never thought I'd say that on the stream, but I just did. So there you go. So we still got a lot of people here with us. Hell yeah. Bob, 100% on the first 6. I shared the bullseye card, and we mentioned you, right? And I wanted to know if Bullseye still has an adamantium reinforced skeleton. If anybody knows, it's you. And Bueller popped back in. Look at that. He's like, Bob. I can imagine it. Like Bueller and Bob, it's kind of like a Newman-Jerry relationship, really. And they really don't like each other. And when they see each other, it's like, Bob, Bueller. I'm just kidding. Oh, man. Anyway, what have I been watching? I'm trucking through season 3 of Curb Your Enthusiasm, a snail's crawl, I should say. About to be watching Bill and Ted again. I just recently rewatched him because we had Chris Matheson on the show, and I watched him then, but I'm rewatching him because we're going to be covering Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure this week. Friday night, a live PCP movie night. Come join us as me and the members of the excitable PCP crew have a live chat and discussion about Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Then the week after, it'll be Bogus Journey. And then after that, it'll be Face the Music. And then Horror Fest starts. Horror Fest officially starts September 11th on a Friday night with Lost Boys. Cry, little sister. And in fact, as soon as the stream ends tonight, as long as I remember, we're doing the first Horror Fest PCP movie poll. So join the PCP Army if you're on Facebook. Even if you're not, just make some bullshit account so you can join us. So you can vote in the poll. The first poll is going to have some really cool selections picked by the PCP Army here on a live stream a few weeks ago. Hey, Bueller, you seen Billy's spoof on you and Tom on economics and comics? Might need to send a burn back. I don't watch his stuff, but Was it mean-spirited or was it in fun? I got jealous this week, honestly, because somebody, I don't remember who it was, but they did some really cool artwork of combining superheroes with some of their favorite comics YouTubers. And like they did Jim and Fee as like Gambit and Rogue. They did Comic Tom as the Riddler. And they did Bueller as Lobo. But no Rockin Robbie. But whatever. A couple years ago, someone had commissioned an artist to do me as Superman. Not just me as Superman, but me as Superman from All-Star Superman. So it's like sitting on the clouds, looking back. And it's actually really cool. I'll have to share it with you next week, because I don't have it ready to share right now. But last week, I did mention, we were talking about Big Data for some reason, the music by Big Data. And I said that, yeah, I met Big Data a couple years ago. And I said that I would have an image ready, and I do. And I forgot all about it, but here it is. So here's me and my homies Cam and Kiera meeting Big Data. There we are. Look at that. That was such a great show. He's such a good dude, too. He was so cool. And, yeah, we met Lizzie, too. Cam got a picture with Lizzie. I did not. And Gunner, the drummer. So, yeah, that's us with Big Data. Super freaking cool night. Super cool night. It was a pleasure meeting him. And I'm such a fan. And I wasn't even that much of a fan then. That show turned me into a fan. Cleaning things up, getting the house back in order. You saw it, Bob. Bob says, a lot of work was done. I'm surprised you're able to do it in one evening. What? He didn't do anything else? I'm just trolling. Just trolling. Yeah, Mike was with us that night. Mike, I think, actually took that picture. I clicked the wrong button, but always good to throw that image up again because we have lost a young and passionate and enthusiastic voice here in the comic book community. Mike is such a great photographer that it's a shame that he doesn't get to be in most of these pictures because he winds up taking them. But I'm pretty sure Mike took that photo. But what a great show. That night we saw Fitness, Castlecomer, and Big Data. And at this point, all I really knew about Big Data was Dangerous with Joywave, and then the song he did, Snowed In, with Rivers Cuomo. Anybody check out the Weezer song from the new Bill and Ted movie? Pretty dope. Pretty dope. A Rockin Robbie Super Scroll would be pretty dope, to be honest. Be pretty dope. Would be pretty dope, to be honest. Y'all make sure you check out tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central Time, Comics with Bueller's channel, because we got the all-new, all-different Coffee and Comics show with Bueller and Bob, and a little bit of me. A little bit. Yeah, Bueller's doing another reboot. Is every issue of Ice Cream Man standalone? Yes. Every single issue is standalone. Oh, Rockin Robbie is Dr. Doom. How would you tell it was me, though? Backwards Yankees cap? I'm missing my nose. Face is all fucked up. Ice Cream Man sells out almost every time at my shop now. Taki says, had a super productive stream, entered 2 short boxes in an app, and won an auction on eBay. Hell yeah. Congratulations. Weird stretch. What? So, Mike was doing, last night Mike did, Strickland, you got to check this out. I'll have to show it to you tomorrow. But Mike did like a series of images in the PCP Army to represent what we were talking about last night during the stream with Dylan, right? And man, it's funny, and like looking through all the images, it's like reliving the live stream. It's really funny at times too, and informative in other times. But he did a weird stretch, and it was funny, man. It's like this dude who's like doing this weird stretch, and I like knew it instantaneously what it was. The all-new Coffee and Comic Show starring Rockin Robbie for 10 seconds. A little bit of Robbie goes a long way. Sean, I feel you. Somebody recently was like, I appreciate your passion, but I can only handle you for 20 minutes. And I'm like, bro, trust me, you're not the first person to tell me that. Yeah, that Ice Cream Man cover is fire. And they're doing that second print's dope too. I'm really excited for that one. I hear a lot of people tell me stuff like, you mentioned so many great indie comics, but I can never get them at my shop. They don't stock them. That sucks. If they don't stock them, tell them to. And if they won't listen to you and stock them, then fucking find a better shop, y'all. I hate to say it, but come on. You got to meet the demand. Wolverine? Okay. I mean, I'd be cool with any kind of representation. To be honest, I'm super pumped that not only did Fable has been doing this great music for the channel. Well, I don't think he did it for the channel, but he's allowing us to use his music on the channel. But he's the one that drew up Ghost Thrasher. Now, see, that was one I forgot to do. I intended to send Bueller one of the streams of going, hi, everybody. I'm Rockin Robbie from Pop Culture Philosophers and the creator of Ghost Thrasher. Yeah, that second print of the Ice Cream Man's dope. And if you want it, you let them know now because they've already had to order it. You want to make sure you're on the list. A little bit of Robbie goes a long, long way. Oh, goodness me. I'm making tacos tonight. Very excited about it. Got some habaneros to slice up. I ate a ghost pepper this last week. Chopped it up, put it in my I have the bowl. I have like rice and beans and edamame and chicken, and I sliced up some ghost pepper, put it in it, ate it, handled the heat just fine. Drank 3 bottles of water though. Stomach felt super full and pressured. Went outside and threw up just a little bit. I'm serious as hell. Mike was right there. Oh. Bueller says if your LCS won't carry indie titles, get them straight from the publisher. A lot of them will hook you up. It's true. X-Men 90s animated theme remix. Fable, you've been challenged. You've been challenged. Fable says, I've been meaning to sketch more. What would you like to see? I want to see more Ghost Thrasher, bro. And I'd like to see your take on Blade. Let's get a Blade pitch together. Colonel Angus says, I mixed a ghost pepper and a pound of ground beef for spaghetti too hot to eat 2 bites. Shit is hot, man. Don't get me wrong. I've eaten a Reaper, and the hubris you get from that is extraordinary. You feel like, oh, I can do anything. I ate a Carolina Reaper. And then you chop up a ghost pepper and throw it in your rice bowl, and you throw up a little bit. Yeah, I should totally do the 1-chip challenge. I'm sure I can nail that one. That seems easy. That seems really easy, to be honest. Really does. But now I got the scorpion pepper, a Moruga scorpion, and or maybe a Trinidad Moruga scorpion, right? And like, now I'm scared to do anything with it. Because then Mike told me that he chopped up his peach scorpion and put it on some eggs. And he's like, fucking too much. Eat a cactus like the LA Beast? No. I'll do the hot challenges, but I won't eat a cactus. I've watched him do it, but I won't do it. Jabroni did the 1-chip challenge. Man, we got to do it because it came back. If it's still available, we'll do it. We'll do it like in a heartbeat. We did the Death Nut challenge, and now they got the Johnny Scoville's Tube of Terror. I'd like to do that. Did you see Midtown up the price on the Robin variant when it released last week? Yeah, why not? That's market value. That thing was selling for $25 online. Why not? What's up, Red Rick? Here's my thoughts on it, y'all. And maybe I'm a bit biased because I'm from a comic shop. This is my personal thoughts, though. This is not connected to my shop. Though, at my shop, we kind of do the same thing here. I get tired of people claiming that a comic shop is price gouging when they're asking for market value, especially on incentives, okay? Incentives are made so that shops order extra copies of things they may not sell so they get this one specific cover. And if it starts going for like $100 or so, then that's their right to sell it that way. With the Robin King variant, right? It was going for $20-25 that day. This is what I think shops should do. And this is what our shop did. If you ordered that thing, like as much as even just messaging the day before, being like, let me get that, you got it for cover price, 100%. And in fact, every copy that we had available to sell was sold for cover price, right? So there you go. But after the fact, if all your customers are taken care of, there's nothing wrong with slapping the market value price on it. 100%. Now, if you were like, hey, I want death metal, I want all covers. And then you show up, you get your box, and you got all the covers there, and then you got this Robin one, and it's got like a $20 price tag on it, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. Those are order as many as you want variants. So that's my thoughts on it. I don't mind a comic shop because what is a comic shop supposed to sell a Spider-Man 129 for cover price? No, of course not. And we know about that. We know about that, right? But take care of your customers and then hell yeah, man. Charge it for what it's going for because that's what most people are going to want to buy it for, just to flip it. And that's cool. And that's fine. And there's nothing wrong with that. But just take care of your customers. Well, Midtown is a distributor, but they're also a seller. They were a seller first. And we've covered that before. I think it's a little bit of a conflict of interest that DC's two distributors right now are retailers as well. I think that's a bit of a conflict of interest, but whatever. It is what it is. And I've even heard some rumors that DC is thinking about going into in-house distribution. But they need to take a look at Heroes World. They need to take a look at Marvel. Can you go live from your comic shop and sale auction some comics to the PCP Army? I actually thought about doing that during the shutdown and never got around to it. So maybe. But this is what, like, everybody that subscribed to that book and even the people that came in asking for it got it for cover price from us. You bought 3 for cover off the rack. They allow you to do that. That's the one thing we did do. We limited it 1 per person because we want everybody to get a copy of it. Because otherwise someone's going to come in and buy them all up. And why do we care? Because like why does a comic shop care if someone comes in and buys up everything, like all the copies of an issue so they can flip it? It's not that the comic shop is bothered that this person flipped them. It's that now I don't get to sell to all these other people. I would rather have 20 happy customers. I'm just coming up with these numbers off the top of my head. I'd rather have 20 happy customers than 1 happy customer and 19 pissed off customers because they can't get the issue because someone bought them all. So that's why we do limits. Unless you pre-order. If you pre-order, like we have this happens. People are like, hey man, this Venom second print, I want 25 copies of it. All right, cool, we'll do it. And you'll get it for cover. No matter what it's going for that day because you pre-ordered it. We're very firm on that. Incentives, though, we price it at market value. Unless we've worked something out with you before. Most of them do skip up. You know, this is why I always say that sometimes speculation can hurt the industry. Because I have had people come into my shop and I've had people here on the streams and on the videos tell me this. That they're done with Thor right now. They'll just start trade weighting it because they're tired of missing issues because people buy them all up and now they're like $20 online. It's going to happen this week with Thor number 6. It is. Call your shop now and be like, hold that book for me. They haven't gotten them yet. Do it. Because if your shop doesn't limit, if your comic shop doesn't restrict off-the-shelf sales like that on hot titles, it's going to be gone. It's going to be gone. So it can hurt because what happens is those books then sink down. But what happens is while they're hot, the week of release, people go into that shop. They want to be able to buy it. Some people don't subscribe. Now, you should subscribe to a book that you're going to follow because that allows your shop to know that you want it and it's a guaranteed sell, right? But not everybody does that. Some people just come in and they just buy off the shelf, right? And maybe they forgot to subscribe to Thor, right? Now they go in and where's Thor number 4? Oh, we sold out. Well, let me go online. Oh, it's $20. All right. Damn, that sucks. I'll wait for the second print. Wait, what happened with the second print? It's how much? See what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden they go, you know what? I'm done. I'll trade weight it. I'll go digital. That's how it can hurt the industry. What we need is more people buying comics. I'd rather sell 100 comics to 100 people than sell 100 comics to 20 people. Do you get what I'm saying? Because if you sell it to 100 people, 90 of them may come back for the next issue. And then you sell more comics in the long run. You grow the industry. It's hard for new readers to get into a dope book. Thor is a great book to bring in new readers. Hey, yo, you got to check out Thor. Yeah, good luck. Good luck. Someone comes in and is like, hey, man, I really like Thor. I want to get into it. I want to get into Thor for the first time. Oh, man, awesome. It just started, but you can't find any of the issues. That sucks. And then they're like, okay, never mind. Oh, don't worry. 6 months from now, there will be a trade paperback. But that Robin King cover was dope. I got one. It's dope as hell. I got one. I didn't sell it. I got it. Why? My real name is Robin, y'all. Just so you know. Like, I am Rockin Robbie. But my birth certificate says Robin. Robin de Billups. So, I have an affection for Robin. And, yeah. I like to consider myself a little bit of a Robin King myself. Robin King was great, though. Oh, my goodness. Bob described him as impish. And I like that. I love it when he shows up. Slight spoilers here, I guess. He shows up, and Barry's just like, can't take this guy seriously. And he's just like, nice belt. Did you make it yourself? And he's like, thanks, Flash. Yes, I did. And in my belt, I have a way to kill all of you and your friends. I loved it. I loved it so much. Someone today on the weekly pop culture wrap up, because we were talking about the new death metal tie-ins they announced for November. One of them is called Infinite Hour Extreme, like triple X's in it. And then the other one is The Multiverse Who Laughs. And they were like, The Multiverse Who Laughs is the most ridiculous title ever. I'm like, bro, you realize the other one's called Infinite Hour Extreme. That's the point. That's why it's so fun. I do have a new favorite Robin, maybe. Seriously. My favorite Robin is Tim Drake. It was for a while replaced by Damian, but sometimes Damian is too two-dimensional in other writers' hands as opposed to Tomasi or Morrison, obviously. So Damian's like number 2, and Tim Drake is still number 1. But Robin King may take the cake. Oh, you were right. That last page. And it sets up the doom metal story. Really good stuff. Talking to Bob about the last page of Metal 3. I love it. This felt so much like a crisis event. Oh, I loved it. Loved it. You got to check out the guidebook. Bob, I don't know if you were here when I said this earlier, but the guidebook that comes out this week fills in the gap from the end of Snyder's Justice League to the beginning of Death Metal. If you want to know how the multiverse fell, like how Earth fell to the Batman Who Laughs, they explain it there. It's really good. And if you're into death metal at all, you want to pick this book up. It's so freaking good. Yeah, that like Immortal Hulk in the early books of the run went to 5 printings before you could find a copy to read. Yep. Fanboy Russ says, mine is Jason Todd. I respect that. J Strick says, Jason Todd at number 4, Tim Drake at 3, Damian at 2, Dick at 1. You left some out. Stephanie Brown, Carrie Kelly. What do you think about them, homie? Thought you were an expert. Thought you were a pop culture philosopher. Stop embarrassing me. Where's Robin King? I don't need the guidebook. I got me, Robbie. Yeah, I'll talk about it eventually. So y'all like Dick, huh? Y'all need to give Tim Drake some love. But I'm glad that you put Jason down there. Robbie, the living guidebook. Thank you. Speaking of favorites, it's time for a top 5. And tonight we're talking about my top 5 favorite John Hughes films. Because we just did a Ferris Bueller review because it was the winner of the John Hughes poll, so let's do it. At number 5, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Now I have a ground rule here. The rule is this has to be a John Hughes directed film. So movies that he wrote but didn't direct. For instance, National Lampoon's Vacation, The Great Outdoors, Home Alone, they're not included on this list. Number 5, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, a great Thanksgiving film. With Steve Martin and John Candy, it's super fun. I loved it as a kid. I still love it today. One day we will cover it here on the channel. At number 4, 16 Candles. 16 Candles is his directorial debut for John Hughes. This movie is super freaking funny. I love it. I love all the random characters, all the random actors that are in there. And I think it's a really solid film and way better than some things like Pretty in Pink. At number 3, Weird Science. Love this movie. Come on, Oingo Boingo alone. Then you add in Bill Paxton, then you just add in a great, fun comedy sci-fi romp. I even remember the 90s TV series that aired on USA in my town. I absolutely loved that. I love this story. It was second place in the John Hughes PCP Army poll. At number 2, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. You can hear more of my thoughts about why I love this movie so much and a deeper interpretation of it on the most recent movie night we did on Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And my number 1 favorite, you know it, it's The Breakfast Club. The Breakfast Club basically changed my life. I love this movie so much. Dum, dum. Hey, 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 hey. Ooh, 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 ooh. The Breakfast Club is great. I love it. It's nuanced. It's got a lot of meaning to it. It's got a big message. It's got great performances. And to me, still one of my absolute favorite comedies from the 80s. Even though it's more of a drama, it's a dramedy. And it is still my favorite John Hughes movie. Don't you forget about me. What are your favorite? What's your favorite? What's your favorite John Hughes directed film? What's your top 5? Throw it out there. I want to know. Eric says number 1, Breakfast Club. Bob from Everything Comics says there is no better John Hughes movie. Breakfast Club still holds up to this day. Herminio says Breakfast Club is my favorite. I thought Breakfast Club would be most people's favorites. That's why I thought it would win the PCP poll, but it was actually number 3. And it was these 5 movies that were on the poll. And the results of the poll were Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, Weird Science, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Fable says Breakfast Club. Reggie says Breakfast Club. Taki says, I'll have to go with Breakfast Club, but they are close. Fable's like, but I do love Weird Science. I get it. Strange Academy had a great homage cover. Yeah, it did. Great soundtracks on all of those movies, too. I grew up loving John Hughes films. One of the first creators in Hollywood that I knew by name. And, you know, he's got so many movies that he wrote that he didn't direct that are amazing. Mr. Mom, Vacation, Great Outdoors, a personal favorite of mine. Curly Sue, he actually directed. That was his last directorial movie, to be honest. Isn't that weird? Alex says Breakfast Club. Sean says Ferris. Although honorable mention is Pretty in Pink, Ducky rushing in the record shop to lip sync Otis Redding is still a classic moment for me. Well, that one wasn't directed by John Hughes. That's why it wasn't on my list. But I honestly don't really like Pretty in Pink that much. I don't. I think it's okay. It's too dramatic. Breakfast Club's got fun to it. You know, it still has a lot of drama, a lot of talking, but I love it. I mean, this dude made a movie about these kids in a library. And that's literally the movie. Them in a library. 6 different kids, right? 6 of them. Yeah, 6 of them, right? Five of them. 5 of them. All getting together. And, well, Pretty in Pink was written by John Hughes, Bob. It just wasn't directed by him. But a great writer. I mean, come on. Who doesn't love Vacation? Great Outdoors is one of my favorite movies. Period. It's been a long time since I've revisited Great Outdoors. Might have to do that after Horror Fest. Anyway, but this movie about these 5 kids just talking all day, all movie long. They're just talking. But it works. It works so freaking much. And it's so great. Uncle Buck's a great one, Sean. Ferris is good stuff. Hell yeah, Red Rick. You got to mention Uncle Buck. Don't forget Uncle Buck. Didn't they remember the TV show that they did? Wasn't that Mike Epps? I never watched that. Home Alone's a great one that he wrote too. Yeah, he's written some great movies. Like I said, Mr. Mom. Can't sleep on that one. What's up, Ricky? You know, Molly Ringwald wanted to play Sloane in Ferris Bueller, but John Hughes said that that was too small of a role for her. Molly's like his muse, man. I hope nothing creepy happened there. She just has different color hair today, doesn't she? Or for a while she had different color hair. You remember her in The Stand TV series? Or the TV movie? The Stand, the miniseries? Anyway, that was my top 5 favorite John Hughes movies. But don't forget to check out this upcoming Friday night where we start our look and retrospective discussion on the Bill and Ted franchise. We'll be covering Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure this Friday night. Next Friday, we'll be doing Bogus Journey. And the following Friday, we'll be talking about the brand new movie, Bill and Ted Face the Music. Thank you, Bob. I think creepy is standard in Holly Weird. Unfortunately, you may be right about that. Rain keeps falling down, down. Man, I tell you what, dude. I'm singing too freely now. I'm in trouble if someone super chats. I was just blah, blah, blah. His name is Hellboy. Can't wait for Bill and Ted. Oh, I can't wait for that movie. We're doing it the week after it comes out. That way everybody has a chance to watch it. But then we will be returning with some in-studio made movies. The new set will not be ready for when we want to start. But we're just going to do it anyway. Even if we have to just do it in a bare set, we'll do it. But Tenet and Mulan and New Mutants will be not live discussions, but Bill and Ted Face the Music will be, because we're doing 3 weeks of Bill and Ted. And then it's time for Horror Fest. Have a good one, Bob. Thanks for stopping by, buddy. We're almost done here as well. We got some show and tell coming up in the final 9. So if you got any final thoughts or questions, get them in right now, because we're about to do show and tell. First up, maybe I'm nuts, but your singing sounds decent. Thank you. It's probably the mic, if anything. This is the very same microphone that Michael Jackson recorded Thriller on. So I credit the microphone. Singing is the sound of joy, is the sound joy makes while leaving the body. Hell yeah. All right, show and tell time. So I told you I was going to start showing off some more actual books. But we still got to ease our way into actual books with comic books. Check this out. I bought this back when it first released. This is a novelization of Batman No Man's Land, the earthquake story where Gotham City's been destroyed by an earthquake and it gets cut off from the rest of the country, left to its own devices. Greg Rucka made his DC debut with the No Man's Land books, the Batman books, and it was so freaking good. And he's an author, right? And that's how he got his writing start. So he actually got to do the novelization of Batman's No Man's Land, and it's really good. If you like No Man's Land, which I do, it's a great Batman series. Pretty much every Batman book in 1999 was part of this story. And so Greg Rucka did the novelization of it. And this is really good. And as an overall story, because he gets to leave out the bullshit bits, he really gets to like tie it all together. And this is probably even better than the comic book. This is exceptional. If you've never read that, you totally should. And usually when they do novelizations of comic book events, like I have the Death of Superman one, and I got the Batman Nightfall one, and they're okay, but this is solid. Solid as F. What else we got? Well, we're going to open this one up tonight. How about that? Let's open up this Blue Ranger from the Hasbro Lightning Collection. They just announced Wave 6. It's going to have the Black Ranger, so we'll finally have the complete Mighty Morphin team. I have a Black Ranger, but he's got the shield on, the Dragon Shield. So, let's open this up, take a look at it. God damn it. His name is Hellboy. He was sent to the earth some long time ago. Brought to this earth by Rasputin, son of a demon and a nun who had sex with the demon. But he was raised by Professor Broom. Now he fights demons and monsters. There it is right there. Love the energy. Oh, this is my favorite bits of these, man. The sculpts are really good on all of these. Like, every time I end a Rockin Robbie live, I have a pile of shit right here, just so you guys know. We're going to have the full extended staff. And the energy there. Yeah, let's do it. Let's pull the gun out so we can get... Let's take a look at that head. Does anybody want some head? What was that dude's name from wrestling, from WWE back in the day? So there's the Billy head right there. Kind of doofy, but it's how it's supposed to be. The glasses are a little crooked, but yeah, you can actually fix that a little bit. So there's that. I just want to zoom in on my hands. I don't know how to get this to... There we go. Actually, not too bad. It looks doofy, but that's how Billy looked. Right? Then we have his like little lance staff here. So let's put this on it and see what that looks like. Bruh. Oh, super cool. But there's the figure right there. Actually, the colors are really good on this one. That blue really is popping. The sculpt looks great. Make sure everything bends. But was raised by Professor Broom. Go, go, Power Rangers. Go, go, Power Rangers. Do, 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 do. Go, go, Power Rangers. Your mighty morphin power. Here's what's crazy. So on the Black Ranger, because they all have their own heads popping out, right? But like the Black Ranger has like season 2 like going on with the braids, and I think that's super, super cool. So there it is. Pretty freaking dope. if I do say so myself. Loving these. Loving them. Speaking of Power Rangers The Lightning Collection, I opened this up Friday night, but now you can actually see it. There's the Omega Ranger from SPD. Amazon exclusive. Costs like $10 more, but he comes with his bike. How cool is that? Freaking dope, man. Freaking dope. Now we fight demons and monsters. All right, to wrap up some Lightning Collection Power Ranger stuff, I got this in. It's the Psycho Ranger set. And y'all, what a beautiful set. First of all, the packaging with the artwork is always great on these Power Ranger toys. But this set is absolutely freaking amazing. A backing board behind them for focus. That's a really freaking good idea. So this pops off, and it's got this little bio right there. And that's pretty freaking cool. But look at the set itself, y'all. A piece fell out. But look at that. Freaking cool. The only way to get Psycho black, pink, and yellow is this set. I already have red and blue, but now I have two. But look at that set. Yeah, it was the Yellow Ranger's gun that popped out. I have to make sure I find that. But this set's freaking awesome. I gotta appreciate Mike for getting this for me. I mean, I paid for it, but he knew I didn't have the money at the time. He wanted to make sure I got it, so he picked it up for me, and then I got to pay him back for it. I'm going to use your backing board strategy, Dave. So let's see if this works. Because you guys wants to see some He-Man figures. Oh, Lord. Bear with me. Yeah, bear with me. His name is Hellboy. Hey, what's up, Brooks? How you doing, man? We're doing show and tell right now. Brooks, you want to see the new... Oh, Brooks already saw these because he was on the stream. Never mind. Anyway, there's Ram Man. Let's test out this David Hatch theory. There's Ram Man. Oh, David, you're right. That works fine. So there's Ram Man. Here's old Cyclone. Cyclone spins. So let's spin him. Just spin it. Spin it. Love that figure. There's Tila. Finally got a Tila. Very excited about that. Here's Roboto. And yep, still works. And I got the extra hand, so he's got his claw hand right there. And then there are the other ones. Well, there's his gun. But does his gun? Yeah, his gun attaches, right? His name is Hellboy. Yep, there he is with the gun. See? And then we got the little axe hand too, right there. Good old Roboto. These ones I'm super excited for because they're members of the Horde that I didn't have. That's Multibot right there. And these ones are all like made modular. So like you can like take pieces apart and like put them back together in different interesting ways. So there's Multibot right there. Remember the Horde? Speaking of modular, there's Modulock right there. Been wanting this figure for a long time. Finally got it. And once again, you can set them up in different... You can actually have 2 different figures made out of this. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff. Love it. Love that Joker. Brooke says Tila is the best one. Herminio says, I used Cyclone as my Captain Planet as a kid. That's funny. Led Zepp says, nice figures, Robbie, but do you have Fisto? Yes, I do. I did a couple of Toy Haul videos on the channel, and one of them has Fisto. But I've gone balls deep into Masters of the Universe right now. So I'm getting them as many as I can up. Wasn't the Tila figure also the Sorceress? Yes, and also Evil Lyn as well. Yep. So those are the Masters of the Universe figures, and that's show and tell. So, hell yeah. And let's go ahead and see if... Yep. This, to me, is one of the most boring Masters of the Universe figures, but it's necessary to have. And I'd like to get, one in better shape, I guess, but one with the bracelets. They're just like stickers, I think, or something, but that's still cool to me. So, yeah, that Modulock is super dope. Super dope. Yeah, I'm excited. On the new set, I plan on really highlighting a lot of these Motu figures. 100%. Ram Man is tough. All right, now it's time for the final 9. We've been doing the Marvel Universe Series 1 cards. So now we're on the final 9 tonight. We're still on the villains. Starting with card 67. There's Lizard. Very cool figure. Did you know that Lizard is one of Spider-Man's greatest foes? His alter ego, Kurt Connors, is also one of Spidey's closest friends. Yes, we did. Next up, we've got Mole Man. There we go. Mole Man. Dormammu. Leader. Blob. Black Cat, listed as a supervillain. Venom. Venom. Did you know the costume that Venom wears is a living alien entity? And then we got Green Goblin. Hell yeah, brother. And Galactus. The best of them all. So there we go. Final 9. Marvel Universe Series 1. Still trucking on through those. Love these cards so much. You've got me ready to get a set. I miss those cards. Yeah, you should buy them. They're good. I don't have any links. I'd look on eBay or something. Probably find them relatively cheap, right? Shit, just go to flea markets and stuff. Well, I guess there are not too many flea markets around anymore, huh? Once again, don't forget this upcoming Friday night, we got Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, the movie review. There's the time that I met Big Data. Super, super fun. We had a lot of fun here tonight, at least I did. Singing, dancing, laughing, talking about comic books. We talked about DC and all the drama there. We looked at what's coming up in comic shops this week. We talked about our favorite books of last week. We did a Marvel in the 90s segment about when Punisher became a black man. What? We did a top 5 John Hughes films. It was super fun. I had a great time. Next week is even going to be more exciting. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Lots of excitement here on the channel this week. So do not miss any of that. We really appreciate your support. Please do like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And we're dipping out. We hope you have a good one. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups, and on behalf of everybody here at PCP, thank you so much for the support, and we are dipping out. Have a good week, y'all. Let me tell you about this little man I know. His name is Hellboy. He was brought to this earth some long time ago. Ah, that's... It's Hellboy time. Now he fights evil and monsters, and he fights with the fish man who's named Abe. Now he fights with the fire starter named Liz, and a crazy ectoplasmic mess named Johan PPRD. How are y'all doing? So here's the trick to tacos. You gotta have crunchy shells, you gotta have chips for nachos, and you gotta have soft shells. Now, I used to always have crunchy taco shells, soft taco shells, and chips. But now, I get these things, what are they called? I don't know, they're like taco boat type things. They're like flour tortillas, but they're made in this like cup boat type shape. Man, they're so freaking good. And they got them in a bunch of different varieties, but just the regular ass soft flour is the best, to be honest. But you can load up a lot of toppings in there. And so I like to do, the taco meat, right? Then I like to go with some queso, right? Then some hot sauce, and I mean hot sauce. Shredded lettuce, a little bit of diced tomatoes, shredded cheese as well. I know I already put queso on there, but it doesn't matter, right? And so you add more cheese to it because if you're having tacos, you might as well just go full fucking out, right? And then you slice you up some fresh habaneros because habaneros I can handle. Ghost peppers, probably not a good idea unless you coat your stomach beforehand, but tacos, that's how you do it. Now, do you need to buy taco seasoning? No. All you need is salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic salt. You need chili powder. You need cumin. Cumin's important. And you need a dash of oregano. You can make your own taco seasoning. You don't have to keep buying the prepackaged shit. But guess what? Tonight, I'm making the prepackaged shit. But it doesn't matter because it's like 50 cents or whatever. Kroger brand. Anyway, having a lot of fun. Yeah. But it's taco time. But before that, it's Transforming Fables time. What? I would have loved to freestyle on that beat. I'm going to write something for it. I want to try to get strict on something because I think that rolls hard. But I don't have the audio input set up for that clip. I could do it, but I didn't have it set up because I didn't even think about it. Whatever. Anyway, there you go. But I do want to mention one more thing. A major rest in power to Edwin, the comic jabroni. There's been way too much loss in the community. In my life, we just lost a friend a week ago. And, dude, it's these are rough times. We got to look out for each other. And don't take anything for granted. And that includes tacos even. I'm serious as hell. I mean, I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, enjoy your life. Live it to the fullest. And don't let nothing hold you back. Because life could be over like that. So, there you go. Seriously. So, jabroni, this one's for you.